or stream it live at wingam.com.
November 12th and 13th on ESPN with additional live coverage on ESPN+.
Spain and Fitz.
We've never seen Cam be that guy that is easily derailed right from his play on the field. So I can't really put a finger on it. But if I'm the Patriots looking at it saying, hey, there are two options. Get it fixed, or we're going to have to look at Jarrett Stidham. I mean, Jarrett Stidham was supposed to be the reason they weren't in the quarterback market in the draft. So I'm struggling to figure out why, if Cam is playing so poorly, they're not going to look at a different option.
Spain and Fitz, weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, your smart speaker, or wherever you stream your audio.
WING 1410 Dayton.
Knock, knock. Trick or treat. Happy Halloween.
Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, and we have a ton to dive into. Happy Wednesday, Kev.
Happy Wednesday, man. How you doing?
Good.
You get into any arguments on Twitter lately?
Not me.
What about Facebook?
Maybe. No Twitter. I'm a social media boy.
Okay.
So there you go. Again, happy Wednesday. A ton to get into. We are going to open up today with, of course, the news coming out of Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bengals made a huge trade today, and that's what I want to open up with as far as that's concerned, because keep in mind, at the end of the day, Cincinnati has found themselves in a situation where they have some disgruntled players on this roster, and it basically came to a head today. The Cincinnati Bengals have traded away Carlos Dunlap to the Seattle Seahawks, and this really should come to surprise to nobody. I was thinking earlier about the teams that made sense for Carlos Dunlap to land with, and I kept saying, well, every team that I can come up with that makes sense, he's not going to end up there, because most owners with the brain usually don't take one of your players that has been disgruntled and ruin the environment in your locker room and reward them by sending them to a potential contender. Well, Mike Brown, he's new to this thing, and he sent Carlos Dunlap to the Seattle Seahawks, who offensively one of the best, if not the top offensive team in the National Football League, but they are as good as they are offensively. The Seahawks are as bad defensively. And again, Carlos Dunlap traded to the Seahawks. They got an offensive lineman and B.J. Finney and a 7th-round pick in the 2021 NFL draft in return. So I don't know a ton about who Finney is and what he brings to the table. It has to be better than anything that they have up front right now. And then you look at the fact that they got a draft pick in return for him. With that being said, the move is not going to become official until later on this afternoon after 4 p.m., they said. And, of course, the talk all week has been about, who's been in the wrong here. Carlos Dunlap is just getting every finger in Cincinnati pointed at him, saying he's this, they can't believe his actions. They can't believe how he's been acting. After the frustrating loss against the Browns this past Sunday, he goes on social media and he puts his house up for sale, which I thought was pretty funny. I thought it was a good troll move. Of course, that incident happened after you could see the blow-up between him and the Bengals defensive coordinator on the sideline after he was just beyond frustrated with a lot of the defensive play calling. My thing is this. Carlos Dunlap is frustrated for the same reasons that fans are, so why are we as fans mad at Carlos Dunlap for doing what a lot of players on that roster should be doing, and maybe not going after head coaches or coordinators or anything along those lines? But this is always the conversation you and I have had, is what is the responsibility of the players in regards to speaking up at a certain point when things are getting a little out of hand with how badly a team is performing. Now, I don't want to hear about the offense. This isn't a conversation about the Bengals offense. It's strictly about the defense. I think that if there's a player out there that has the right to be as frustrated as any other defender on that defense, it is Carlos Dunlap. A couple of years ago, when the Cincinnati Bengals announced that they were giving those big-time extensions to Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, I know people don't believe that I ever say anything nice about the Bengals, but I applauded that. I was like, that was a sign of good faith. That was a good sign from the Bengals front office that they were investing into the future, that they were investing into keeping the players that they have on this roster, which is, to be fair, Mike Brown usually does that. He usually takes care of his guys.
Right.
He's not the best talent evaluator of bringing outside guys in. But I like that they made those extensions, and Dunlap was worthy of it. I mean, again, he's very reliable, doesn't miss a lot of games. Same thing with Atkins, that type of deal. Dunlap's role has changed ever since Zach Taylor has come to Cincinnati. And the problem I have with all of that right now, Kev, is that when you look at that situation, this defense is garbage. It's been historically bad the last couple of years. You only have one or two good defensive players on that roster, and the one good defensive player you have in Carlos Dunlap, Zach Taylor's entire mindset was, yeah, we're going to come up with a scheme that we're going to use our only good defensive player. I mean, we're historically bad defensively. And the only good player we have, Zach Taylor and his defensive coordinator, come up with a scheme to use him less, Kevin. So I see where the frustration's coming from with Carlos Dunlap. The guy wants to win. He's been a Cincinnati lifer. He's been loyal to the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been there through the ups and the downs, and I feel like he's been very loyal throughout the downs. But what you can't do is when you have a player, a leader like that, who has been loyal to your organization through the ups and the downs, you can't just, when things are bad, when the defense is historically bad, dump on him. And I feel like for everyone out there that is pointing fingers at Carlos Dunlap saying that he's in the wrong, I think that the Cincinnati Bengals are in the wrong on this too, because there's a way to handle veteran players. Yeah. And they clearly have not, Zach Taylor didn't respect Dunlap when he came in. They changed up everything. Now, again, a coach has every right to bring their scheme in. Don't get me wrong. But if you're going to change your scheme, you need to do it to where it's benefiting your team, and you need to have a scheme that's actually going to help your team win. What have the Bengals done defensively to justify using your best defensive weapon less? You see what I'm saying there? Like, that's the problem I have. So 457-9464. We are live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Cincinnati Bengals trade Carlos Dunlap to the Seattle Seahawks. And right now, the big question I have for Bengals fans is this: who's in the right, who's in the wrong? Are we blaming Carlos Dunlap? Is he in the wrong here? Or the Bengals wrong? To me, this isn't beat up on the Bengals day again. That's not what I'm doing. But in this situation, I'm team Carlos Dunlap, because Carlos Dunlap was coming out and voicing his frustration, saying, how are you going to keep me off the field in this final drive here that Baker and the Browns go down and score the winning touchdown? That's his problem. And he has every right to be upset. One more time, this Bengals defense has been historically bad over the years. Zach Taylor comes in to a mess defensively. You would think that, okay, I don't have a lot here, but we need to work with what we have. And what you have is one of the best one of the best pass rushers in football. Now, people are going to start throwing stats at me and say, oh, no, his numbers have diminished. I don't know. His numbers have diminished due to the usage diminishment that the Bengals defensive coordinators have been using him. I just don't get it. You don't have enough defensive talent or weapons on this defense to justify taking the one weapon that you do have and trying to convince the fans and the media and everyone else that, oh, yeah, our scheme, we schemed it up to use our best defensive player less. And you wonder why he's upset. It's not like this is one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL, and he's just like, okay, I gotta be a good teammate here. The team above my needs because we're playing well. They're not playing well. They're not playing good defensively. They're not getting to the quarterback, but that's what he can do. That's why Seattle gave up a lineman in the 7th round pick to go get him, because that's their need. Coincidentally enough, Kevin, that's the Bengals' need too, and you gave up that need. Right. I don't get it. You had the answer right there. You should have handled it differently. I'm team Carlos Dunlap as far as that's concerned.
It's a couple things I want to hit on. One, Carlos Dunlap was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, the number 1 defensive end in the country, went to Florida, won a national championship. He's taken his 81.5 career sacks to Seattle. He's 31 years of age. Could this possibly be something that we see a lot in the NBA, youth movement? We see this in the NBA with the youth movement. We see this a lot in college football, where a new coach comes in and there's older guys on the team, upperclassmen, but they brought in a nice little recruiting class and they want to start playing the true freshmen and the redshirt freshmen kind of to see what they got, because they did sign Carl Lawson last year, who was good when he was with KC. They have the one kid, Bledsoe. They had Hubbard from Ohio State, who's on the IR now. So I'm asking, is this something, could we look at it like that? Like they're going youth movement, like, yo, we want to see what these younger guys have in these situations.
To be fair, yes, I think that is absolutely something, a direction that this Bengals team could be going in. And 457-9464 will take your calls on this. But yes, they could be going in that direction. And I'm okay with that too. When you're rebuilding, okay, fine. But the way they went about doing it, again, like, then why keep them? Like, the only reason Dunlap is gone today is because he had to go throw a fit on the sideline. And sometimes when players' backs are against the wall, you put them in a situation where they have to force their way out. So that's the thing. Like, so if they were going in that youth movement, okay, I'm okay with that. But you have to be smart as an organization and say, well, if we're going to go in the youth movement, we need to sit down with our veterans, especially a loyal team captain, former Pro Bowler in Carlos Dunlap, and say, hey, we respect everything you've done for our franchise. We loved having you here, but again, we're going in a different direction. We're going to look to trade you. He may not like it then, and if he didn't like it then and then voiced his displeasure, then that officially becomes on Carlos Dunlap. But right now, that's not what happened. The Bengals just continued to use him less and less and less, and you could see the frustration building over the last couple of weeks, and they waited till it boiled over the top. So I'm with you. If it's a youth movement, I'm fine with that, but they should have looked to move him sooner and said, hey, here's the direction we're going in. We know you're better than what we have right now, but we just got to see what we got, and you don't fit into our plans moving forward. He's 31 years old. Right. He's a good fit in Seattle. Probably not a good fit on a team that's having, as you said, a youth movement as far as that's concerned.
We got Bob on the line.
What's up, Bob? How are you? Welcome in, sir.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Hey, this is my take on that. First of all, I don't have a lot of confidence in Anarumo at all, like zero. Okay, that's one thing. But having said that, this whole situation with Dunlap actually started last year. Mm-hmm. He was starting to be phased out a little bit last year. Part of the reason why, number one, they are in a youth movement. There's no reason to keep Carlos Dunlap. He's not the same player that he has been. Sam Hubbard is out. Sam Hubbard starts on one side. And what the Bengals had to do this year was Carl Lawson is in the last year of his contract. He's the Bengals' best pass rusher. And so what they ended up doing was they ended up starting Carl Lawson ahead of Dunlap, so that you have Hubbard on one side and you have Lawson on the other side. So the Bengals, what they had to do was with Lawson, is he an every down player, or is he just a third down player? They have to find that out to see whether or not they're going to offer him a big contract. So you can't keep Dunlap, in that situation, because he's in front of somebody. And especially, again, you're in a youth movement. You don't, and plus, even when he's in there for limited snaps, how about getting a sack? How about doing something when you are in there? How about we do that? So I don't know how it was totally handled. He shouldn't have been surprised, because, again, this has been coming on for last year. They started the same thing. And to say, the Bengals, they don't have good players on defense. Yeah, they're young. Their linebackers that they're drafted are pretty good. Jesse Bates is one of the top safeties in the league. Now, the play calling, I think that's more of the problem with the Bengals, because I have no idea what Anarumo was doing. Just like on that last play with the Browns, they're already in field goal range. The last thing that you can do is leave a guy on an island and let them get behind you. If nothing else, let the game be tied and go into overtime.
Let me jump in there, Bob. So yesterday I was talking about how, I don't know if you heard it, but when Hollywood Higgins caught that pass on the sideline, instead of tagging him down, he was doing the incomplete sign and allow Hollywood Higgins to roll out of bounds to save the clock. How is that on coaching? That's on a player. That's an individual thing. And then on the next play, he's the guy that gets beat for the touchdown. The ball literally goes straight through his hands. So the coach can put you in a position. It's up to the player to execute. All right, you're there on the play. Tag him. Clocks keeps running. The Browns will have to get up, spike the ball, then come up with a play. But when they're in the hurry up mode, they're not letting the clock run. The clock gets stopped so they can take their time, because he got out of bounds because you didn't tag him as a player. And then you're in perfect position. The coverage is A1. But you don't knock the ball down. You let it go straight through your hands. I can't put that on coaching. I have to put that on the player.
Well, let me tell you why I'm going to put it on coaching, Kevin. The bottom line is, on that last drive, think about that last drive. Every pass that Baker Mayfield threw went where? It went against Phillips all three times. The diving catch, when he didn't touch him. The catch when he threw it, he high-pointed the ball and went up and caught it. That was on Phillips. And even the touchdown. So they're targeting him. How about you have a safety on that side? Because the guy is getting burned all the way down the field. That is coaching. And, Phillips was in a great spot. That's true. He didn't make the play. But If you see they're targeting him, if nothing else, you cannot let him get behind. And I don't care if he didn't knock it down. You have to double up because, again, they're targeting that guy. So I'm saying, yeah, the player has to do something. But by the same token, you have to also give the guy help because they're doing that. They're coming toward that guy. So to me, and then even that, Kevin, let me say this too. Even that, in that situation, Cleveland, no timeout. So what do you have to do? You have to make them throw the ball down the middle.
Yes.
Every pass Baker threw was on the sideline. That's coaching.
Okay.
That's coaching.
So from what I'm hearing from you is coaching. When from me, I say it's a lot with the players. So it sounds like it's a lot of blame to be passed around.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. But coaching more so because, again, Phillips is like a 2 or 3 year guy.
Right.
So and he's a good playmaker. He made a great interception on the one where OBJ got hurt. He's a playmaker. He can do that. But by the same token, a little guy like that, Higgins was just too big for him. So on that play, where's base? Where's your safety at to help cover that up? So you can't let a guy get behind you when Cleveland is already in field goal range. To me, that's total coaching. You can't allow that.
Fair enough.
Bob, good stuff, man. Great hearing from you.
All right, Bob.
Take care. Look, in 457-9464, we'll get back to the calls in a second. I do want to say this. Bengals fans have a habit of when a player calls that team out for being who they are, that player's a villain right away. Mm-hmm. Carson Palmer. Was he wrong about what he said about that organization? No. Bengals fans hate him. You need to actually cheer for these guys. These guys are wanting what you want. Carson Palmer wanted more help. Now, he had weapons. They were winning games. Yeah. I know that's why people get frustrated with Carson Palmer, but he also looked at the situation and said, hey, I remember he shared the story about he went to the front office and he was pleading for them to make a move. They said, we're so close. We're a good team. We're winning games, but we're 1 or 2 pieces away. We need to make a move. They didn't make one move. That's when he made his mind up that said he couldn't play there.
Right.
Bengals fans, he's on your side. He wants the organization to make the moves that are going to put them in position to contend and to compete and to win. And we boo him and we hate him because, he said something bad about our bad owner. That's dumb. Every former player we've had on here, whether it's Icky Woods, all right, whether, whoever it is that we have on, they all tell you the same thing about this organization. Now, that they love Mike Brown, the person, but the owner is just not good. They don't make the smart decisions. You think I'm going to give so in this situation with Carlos Dunlap, you think I'm going to give him or the Bengals the benefit of the doubt? This isn't on Carlos Dunlap. And when everyone says, his numbers are slowing down, his usage has slowed down. And I don't think it's because he's slowing down. I think it's because they came in and they want to be the smartest man in the room, and they're clearly wrong. All right. Let's just be clear. But like I'm telling right now on the comments here, let's go to these two. And again, Matt Sturgeon, he talks about, how, Finney giving a little bit of background information on him, ex-Steeler and Seahawk. Mm-hmm. But he will play a lot due to a bad offensive line.
Definitely.
But
you play center and guard.
So that gives him some flexibility there. Good. Center, But you have no idea what is going on internally. Bengals get away from $11 million cap hit. That's fine. But that's only if they would have traded him next year or released him. So here's the other thing on that too. If they were trying to do, I'm not going to give the front office the benefit of the doubt, because if they were moving on from Carlos Dunlap because it was time, because they were moving on, which they technically are, or if they were doing it to save money, why not do it sooner? Why not do it sooner? They chose to misuse him. And again, why are you going to defend a defensive coordinator that has led this bad defensive group? So again, I'm not trying to do too much beating up on the organization. They make it easy, but I'm on Carlos Dunlap's side here. We do this thing all the time, Kev. When a player speaks out, we say, they're a locker room poison, that they're cancerous. We do it with OBJ, and I've pointed out many times in the past, I don't mind OBJ doing what bigger problem with him dropping balls than I do with him calling out his team.
No drops this year, by the way. No, two.
So as far as, a player speaking out about his frustrations with the team, not going out and getting the right pieces or not using, the star players correctly, why do we label players as, cancer in that situation? I think more players at times, especially on bad teams like the Bengals, you need your players to speak up and say, hey, remember us down here? We're the ones getting our ass kicked every week. You may be fine with it because you're getting that damn TV deal, but we're not. And sure, we're getting paid handsomely, but we actually want to win. So I have no problem with Carlos Dunlap doing that. And I can't wait for when he goes to Seattle and tears it up over there. Then how stupid are the Bengals going to look at that point?
Man, oh man.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Who we got?
We got Charlie.
Charlie, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, Justin?
Just another day in paradise, my friend. What you got for us?
Well, I know that any opportunity that you get to try to make the Bengals look horrible.
Trust me, they don't need my help.
Take advantage.
They do not need my help, my friend.
Okay, all right. Because I know the Browns have won 50 Super Bowls, but anyway,
they're 5-2. They're winning games.
Why would you look? This like anyone who's surprised either way or overreacts, like either saying, "Oh, the Bengals were in the wrong," or Carlos Dunlap was in the wrong. Like that's silly. Like you shouldn't overreact to this. As soon as we got Zach Taylor, I was like, "Well, Andy Dalton's gone. AJ Green might be gone. Atkins might be gone. Carlos Dunlap might be gone." Because those are the leaders of the old team.
Okay, why keep them? Why keep them as long as they did then? If the rebuild started the second he got there, you traded up to draft Finley, and then you didn't start him to start the season. You played Dalton for a while, and then when you realized, oh man, we're worse than we thought, and we actually have a chance to get a good draft pick, then you started Finley for a little bit. Then you went back to Andy Dalton. So were you tanking? Were you not tanking? Were you trying to win? Not trying to win? You should have traded Dalton at the deadline last year. Didn't get anything really at all. Then AJ Green should have traded him at the deadline last year. Chose to keep him. Now look what you got left of him. Dunlap, if the key was to move on from him last year, should have done it. Could have got more for him than you did this year. So again, I know what you're saying, but it's okay to admit that, hey, your team is not making the right decisions with roster management.
Well, I think that we made a great decision today.
Did you?
The player and the pick for a guy who's been in the league 11 years and can't play 3 downs anymore.
Can't play 3 downs or doesn't have a coaching staff that's smart enough to play their best players. Which one is it?
If he was so good, he would play over Carl Lawson, but he's not as good as Carl Lawson.
And how good is this defense right now that I should trust anything that defensive coordinator's doing?
Well, I mean, it is what it is on that. When you got so many guys injured,
it's convincing.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Do you?
But I mean, I expect a lot of I wouldn't be surprised if what's the deadline? Monday?
The 3rd, yeah. It's the biggest day of the year.
Tuesday.
I love AJ Green, but I would not be surprised at all if he was gone by Monday. He's had some okay. He's like our 3rd best receiver right now. He has the name like Carlos Dunlap. You hear that name, you're like, oh, great defensive end. But okay, he was. He's not no more. And we're trying to build a new team so we can get even a 7th-round pick. You never know. You might hit on 7.
You could have got more if you would have traded him at last year's deadline like they should have.
I don't know if we would have got.
No, we know.
For him, we got a lineman that's probably going to start this Sunday.
Well, I mean, I could have started if I go to Cincinnati and say I want to play. I'm sure they would start me with that offensive line.
Okay, all right.
But,
okay.
Charlie, this is fun every day. Make your last point. I don't mean to be rude. I got to get to this break.
Well, I hope you liked my Baker Mayfield comments earlier about him winning the Player of the Week. I thought that was really cute. NFL game.
It was adorable. 5-2, my friend. 5-2. 5-2. 1-5-1.
You guys.
All right.
I'll see you.
Adios,
Later, Charlie.
Adios. All right. Jake Whiting on Twitter says the Brown. Oh, look at that. Jake Whiting has Joe Burrow as his little picture here. It's adorable. Oh, Macaulay Culkin looking dude. The Browns were too busy on vacation at the deadline last year, he says. So, my Browns, I mean the family, the Brown family. That too. Too many backseat Pee Wee coaches commenting. That's true. The real Pee Wee coaches are leading the Cincinnati Bengals to 1-5-1 right now. I told you I didn't want to get into this Bengals jabs, but they started.
I'm going to stand firm on what I said before the season started. I believe the Bengals will have a very similar record, but they will be better than they were last year. Like last year, they were awful. They're not awful this year. They're losing, but they're not getting blown out. Baby steps.
All right, folks, we'll pick up with more of your calls. 457-9464. Who do you blame? Is it Carlos Dunlap or is it the Bengals front office? David Shaw says, you start it. I know you are, but what am I? Oh, gosh. We'll be back next.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We've been expecting you. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with a high near 58. Tonight will be cloudy with rain, a low around 46. And tomorrow is going to be cloudy with rain, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
If I learned one thing from this great game of baseball, it's that she'll humble you. You think you've got it figured out, you check the standings, and you're in last place again. I'm Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM, and I can put my team in position to win every single time, but I can't play the games, people. At least Progressive's Name Your Price tool has options based on my budget. It never lets me down, unlike my pitching staff. Amateurs!
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
You know that sound when a crowd of fans suddenly goes quiet? This November, your vote is your voice. 41% of eligible voters did not vote in the last presidential election. This election is your chance to be heard and decide who represents you. Raise your voice, sports fans. Register to vote. Vote on Election Day, November 3rd. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After falling to the Los Angeles Lakers in the 1982 NBA Finals, the 76ers needed to find the right player to build the ultimate winning team. In September of '82, they acquired restricted free agent Moses Malone. They went on to rack up a 65-17 regular season record and followed that up with a 12-1 postseason record. Malone won the regular season and NBA Finals MVP award.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Adding a leader you need right when you need them. That's how sports teams get ahead and how your business can too. LinkedIn will match the right talent with your open roles fast. Post a job and you'll get great candidates with the right mix of skills, interest, and experience. So every hire you make is a win for your business. Go to linkedin.com/sports and get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are, anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
T-Mobile for Business knows saving time and money is important for your business. That's why we're introducing Microsoft 365 on us, now included in our best business plans. With Office apps, Microsoft Teams, cloud storage, and more, Microsoft 365 on us gives you the tools you need to run your business. Stop by a T-Mobile store today. Qualifying plan required. Contactless to activate. 1 license per line, max 2 per account. Third-party terms apply. See T-Mobile.com for plan details.
John McManus is running hard to be our Montgomery County Treasurer. Montgomery County is already one of the highest tax counties in the state. It seems like every day we're being told to pay higher and higher taxes. Now, in the middle of a pandemic, we're told to get ready for another tax increase next year. When John McManus was vice president of the largest school board in Montgomery County, he fought against property tax increases. As our next county treasurer, he'll stand with us again. This November, vote John McManus for Montgomery County Treasurer.
I'm John McManus, and I approve this message.
Fall is all about feel-good food and family. This fall, get a home-style meal on the go that everyone will love. Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for a 12-piece spicy bonus box for only $23.99. Home-style can happen anywhere with 12 mixed pieces of Lee's Spicy Classic Chicken, a large mashed potatoes and gravy, and a large coleslaw, all at a great price. Get a home-style meal made easy with our 12-piece spicy bonus box for only $23.99. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice.
like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Audible now gives you thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all in one place. The new Audible is your playlist for life. Download the Audible app to get started.
Follow ESPN 1410 Wing AM on Facebook to watch The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Listen, stream, and now watch. It's The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
Back to your Facebook reaction again. The Cincinnati Bengals trade Carlos Dunlap to the Seahawks earlier this afternoon. Who was in the wrong? I'm seeing a lot of people, of course, take the Bengals side and say how Carlos Dunlap was in the wrong, but not even 2 years ago when the Bengals signed Carlos Dunlap, everyone was just talking about how great he was, how awesome he was, and I still think that, he still has it in him, and you're going to see that when he goes to Seattle. So everyone keep the same energy here moving forward when he's tearing it up with Seattle, and Seattle desperately needed a pass rusher as far as that's concerned. So will you get your reaction on Facebook as well as your calls at 457-9464. William Yelly on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Like, follow along, watch the show. Your interaction, of course, is brought into the show with your Facebook profile picture and everything. So make sure you take advantage of that, especially if you can't call in. A defensive coordinator that had never called plays until employed by the Bengals. And this goes back to the Corsac Taylor not having enough connections out there to be able to field a good coaching staff. So there was so many red flags at the beginning that you shouldn't be surprised by this, which is why I'm surprised that people are taking the players or the team side versus one of their star players who the stars are really, should be the connector there. Kev, you have a fan right now. Doug Toby says, Kev, you're the only Steelers fan I've ever heard make any sense. And that's, of course, because you said, I'm assuming the comment about they're going to be better. Their record is probably still going to be the same, but they're better this year than last year.
Yeah, I think it's evident they're going to be better. I mean, they're already better than they were last year. Like, those games last year were unwatchable. It was just bad football left and right by every aspect, offense, defense, special teams. They're in these games. They've only been blown out once. Mm-hmm. So they're right there. So, I mean, I know where you stand with the coaching staff.
I've yet to give my opinion about the Bengals.
But my thought process is, let's see where it goes. Let's see how the season finishes out. If they just totally fall off the rails, then maybe we can visit a coaching change. But currently, I think they're making steps in the right direction. Like you said, the young coaching staff they have. Well, these are growing pains that all coaching staffs go through. If you look at how the Pittsburgh Steelers handled the Le'Veon Bell situation, then the Antonio Brown situation, you would say, what is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers? They're a great, well-oiled machine, a great organization. Man, you had Kevin Colbert call everybody in the locker room children besides Ben Roethlisberger. Those aren't things that you would expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, but they happen. You had the GM say something foolish. You had disgruntled star players because they weren't getting the contracts that they wanted, and you let Le'Veon Bell walk. You didn't even let AB walk. You had to let him go, and you took a major cap hit. So you don't expect these types of things to happen. So if one of the best run organizations in the NFL can make a blunder like they did, like the Pittsburgh Steelers did, other teams going to make errors too. So that's why I'm not all open arms about this with the Bengals. Like, mistakes happen, situations happen. I think ultimately the Bengals are better without him because they weren't playing him anyway. So now you got somebody on the offensive line, your worst part of your team, that can come in and play two positions. He can play center. You can move Billy Price back to guard. Or
send him back to Columbus.
Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. So ultimately, I believe they're going to be a better team on Sundays based off this trade because Dunlap wasn't playing anyway. Now, we can argue if he still has it or doesn't. We're definitely going to find out through the stretch run with the Seahawks. But one thing we know for sure, they got somebody that they're going to plug in and play right away because they need help on the offensive line, and they got one. So I really think if you look at it from the aspect of who won this trade, I think the Bengals won this trade hands down because, they weren't playing the guy. So now you got a starter.
But that's the stupidity, though. But you're right.
That's the bet they made, though.
You're right. First of all, you're right. The return is good.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge that the return is good, especially a versatile guy that comes from winning organizations, that comes from the Seahawks, played for the Steelers. He's going to bring that experience with them and hopefully show the Bengals players what a winner looks like. So hopefully that's what he does. The second thing of that is, though, still can't ignore the fact that the way it was handled was totally missed. Like him blowing up on the sideline, that's because your guys up top aren't managing the situation right.
Right.
I'm okay with moving on from Carlos Dunlap. I'm okay with the new coach coming in, cleaning house and saying, I want my guys in here. Even if we're going to clean house and get rid of our star players, I want my guys in here. Okay, I can handle that. But you don't come in and you don't just keep the guys and then just bench them. Like there should have been a conversation, and maybe there was. Who knows? But Dunlap should have been at least sat down and spoke to about this. He should have been traded sooner. But we know that the Bengals are horrible at coming up or horrible at roster management. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt on that because they don't deserve it.
Lots of teams are bad at this, though.
But does it make it okay?
I'm just saying, like, this isn't
just because the kid next to you is stupid doesn't mean you have the permission to be stupid on your test.
I'm just saying this isn't exclusive to the Bengals. It isn't like, we can look at how the Patriots handled the situation with Gronk. We can look at how the Steelers obviously handled the situation with AB. There's tons of look what we were saying about the Green Bay Packers during the draft when they drafted their quarterback of the future while Aaron Rodgers is still on the team. People were opening arms like, you going to draft a backup quarterback when you got Aaron Rodgers? Why don't you draft him a weapon and all that type of stuff? This isn't exclusive to the Bengals. These organizations make moves independent on how they believe their team is headed. And if teams are headed to the youth movement, then that's what they're going to do. Now, are we privy to the conversations, or if there was even a conversation with Dunlap and his agent about how they were going to use him? We don't know. From everything that we saw from Dunlap's reaction to not being on the field, back-to-back weeks, by the way. This is back-to-back weeks that has happened on the sideline. You would imagine like, well, they didn't let him know that he wasn't going to be in the rotation like that or something, because why would he be blowing up like that if they told him prior to? So we can argue about that, but I don't think we can argue about the fact that NFL teams just, for lack of a better word, they're shady. This is how NFL teams run. They just going to run it how they going to run it.
457-9464. David Shaw says it's a problem with both organizations in Ohio. Listen, look at Cleveland's roster. It's not like the best in the AFC North, but my God, that's an organization that even a new GM coming in is still going out and getting talent. I mean, you look at what Dorsey was able to do in totally reconstructing that roster built around their top. And by the way, the thing is, you're allowed to rebuild, but you could win while rebuilding. The Browns won 7 games after going 0-16 because they did it the right way. And now we can argue the Bengals had more veteran, better players on their roster, and they're, again, only a 1-win team. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. But the Browns, I don't care about their team history, Kev. Mm-hmm. What they've done now is all that matters. I don't care. Like, for instance, this comment here. Matt Sturgeon says, Justin, you bang on the Bengals organization every day. Yet the Bengals have 5 division titles since the Browns' last division title. So which team has run worse? Thoughts? Let me tell you this. I used to be skinny. I'm fat. I used to be skinny. Now, when people say, oh, Kenner, you're fat. And I say, oh, but I used to be skinny. That doesn't make me less fat right now. So when the Cincinnati Bengals say, yeah, we suck, but we used to be good. You used to be good does not make you any less bad now. I used to be skinny. It doesn't make me less fat right now. The Bengals used to be good. It doesn't make them any freaking better today than what they are. So I don't care about that. Why do people keep going to their past? Why do people keep going to, well, the Bengals made 5 straight playoffs. That's great. That's super. That's awesome. Why didn't you build on that? Why didn't you build on that? I'm just saying. You want to talk about young coaches in the NFL? How about Cliff Kingsbury? Look what he was able to do with the roster that was just as bad at the Bengals, and then you go get Kyler Murray, and then you make a bunch of moves, and then boom, there you are, winning football games. All right, how about that? You want to look at Sean McVay and what he's done with the Rams and the quick time that he took over them. The Rams haven't always been good. Look at how they were with Jeff Fisher. You remember that? What's the show on HBO? Hard Knocks. Remember how bad that team was, how that team couldn't win that roster, and all of a sudden here comes Sean McVay, and boom, everything changes. All right. How about Matt LaFleur, Green Bay, Super Bowl winning head coach? All right, Mike McCarthy. All right, lost complete control of the team, couldn't get the talent to gel. Look what LaFleur's done with his roster. Look what he's done. So I don't want to hear that, well, Zach Taylor, he's young and there's going to be growing pains. No. Those other rosters were just as bad as the Bengals. They were just in bad situations as the Bengals. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, they're off and rolling. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals were better his rookie year than what the Bengals are doing right now with Joe Burrow's rookie year. Joe Burrow, still really good. Not taking a shot at him. I'm talking about the team as a whole right now. So, yeah, I don't care about the team's past success. Like I joked earlier, I'm fat now. I used to be skinny. Just because I used to be skinny doesn't make me any less fat right now. And just because the Bengals used to be good, it doesn't take away from the fact that they are not good anymore. Like, it's not like I can go on a dating website if Nora ever, left me and say, hey, ladies, Fat Kinner here, but don't worry. Don't judge me because I used to be skinny, ladies. Come on over. I tell you what. Stop.
Man, we got Nick on the line.
Nick, what's up, man? How are you? Fat Kinner here.
I'm going to be your instant fact checker because Lou Amarello did call the defense and was the interim defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, sir. So, just help you out there.
Someone needs to help him.
No, I blame this all on the organization, right? Because if you Lou wasn't even the first choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went after Del Rio, and then they went after the guy at Florida, and then they went after another guy, and then they finally settled on Lou. But this is on all coaching staffs. When you look at this Bengals personnel when Zach Taylor took over, this defense was a 4-3 defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they signed Atkins and Dunlap to extensions, and somehow, somewhere, they said, hey, you know what, we're going to move to 3-4. Which, okay, that's fine. And to your point, there has to be a conversation with Dunlap saying, hey, we're now going to put you standing up and not always down on the defensive end, which is where you played your entire career. Because it seems like the Week 2 game against Cleveland is where it really started. There was 2 plays that I remember seeing where Chubb made like a cutback where normally, Dunlap's absolutely pursuing. He's coming in there and he's trying to swipe the ball, calls a strip, and he's doing this like modified jog. And that's what really happened is that he got caught on film on run plays, not doing his job, and he got benched. So then he throws a temper tantrum. So to me, it's part organization, part Dunlap. So the fact that they got rid of him and got offensive line help is better than anything right now.
Fair.
That's
fair. And someone, I think Shaw asked that earlier, could it be both's fault? Yes. But the thing is, though, with players, when players are great for so long and they're great because of you use them a certain way, all of a sudden you start changing how you use them. Of course, they're going to be frustrated. And if there's not a good enough reason to justify using him differently, especially when you don't have enough depth defensively to justify taking one of your few good defensive players and trying to use them differently. I guess that's where I'm coming to the defense of Dunlap as far as that's concerned. It's not like this is a good defensive.
It's not giving you maximum effort, Justin.
But why do you think that effort's going down, though? Not saying that's okay, but again, a lot of times when players are like, I'm running in place, so what's the point? We all are like that at our jobs sometimes. And when things were in a rut because our bosses aren't using us correctly or aren't praising us or aren't doing this or that, then we just stop caring, we stop working, right? Like I think it's human nature in a lot of those situations. Bengals have to manage, too.
Again, you stop playing the run, you have to play full defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remember, one of the things we bagged on Marvin is he would stay loyal, and we bagged on Urban Meyer for staying loyal to guys too long, is instead of keeping Dunlap in there, you put in the Hubbards and the Lawsons and the guy that they just drafted from Notre Dame, and I can't pronounce his name. But those guys are giving you 110% every single play, where Dunlap's like, that's a running play, I'm just going to half jog, even though he could have caused a strip. Because that was one of the things that he had made a name for in Cincinnati, that he would trail play and end up causing a fumble when a running back would break a run, right? So I think it's that whole mindset and change of the organization that, hey, this is a guy that was a veteran who wasn't doing his job, and he got caught and benched for it.
Yeah.
So if a player is loafing, I agree with you. If he's caught loafing on film, they're not going to play. I guess we can ask Keith next time he's in the building, the transition from playing defensive end to a standing defensive end, because that's what they were asking Dunlap to do. Maybe that style just doesn't fit him, and that's a way to move on from a player. Now, the communication between the organization and the player, that needs to be better to say, hey, man, this just ain't working out. And that's why they made a trade. And I mean, the Seattle Seahawks run a 4-3. So he's going to be back into his natural position of a down defensive end. So hopefully it works out for him, and hopefully it works out for the Bengals, since they got a player that they desperately need at a position they desperately need offensive line help.
Kevin, you talk about, Seattle took the full contract and extension. So that frees up that back end money that Cincinnati would have owed him from the contract extension to pursue free agents next year.
I can't wait to see what they get with that.
Hey, they surprised us and spent money this year, right? It's all about what's available, because if you look at the draft, I mean, this is a draft this year that I don't see any star, D linemen that we had like last year. Maybe there's a couple guys here and there, but nowhere of what we've seen in the past couple drafts. So you may have to stick and build your offense again through this. I know, Justin, you hate drafting offensive linemen straight out of college, but there's two great ones in the kid from Oregon and the Leatherwood from Bama.
Yeah, but Jonah Williams was supposed to be great. Billy Price was supposed to be great. We hear all these great names coming out of college. I'm being serious here, not trying to be funny, because it's happened to the Browns a lot. So I'm not going to say, but we always say, man, this guy's great. He's a great offensive lineman, and it just doesn't work out. And again, Jonah Williams is technically in his first full year with the Bengals. But again, my point about that is Jonah Williams could end up developing into being a good offensive lineman, but they don't have time to wait for that to a certain extent. So I guess that's where I'm at with that.
They also didn't see COVID coming, where Jonah Williams got 0 preseason, 0 offseason after tearing up his arm, right? So I think a lot of the NFL teams you look at the rookie offensive lineman, the guy from Cleveland is doing pretty well, but he's had his moments where he's looked bad too. But again, they're rookie guys with 0 offseason and 0 preseason snaps.
Well, he looked better against the Bengals, mainly because, they had no good pass rushers, and, Dunlap was on the sideline. So had you played Dunlap, you might have made the offensive lineman look worse, but there you go.
Actually, he was out there on that last play and was getting around the corner, but Baker got rid of it just in time.
Yeah, that's what he does, man. That's what Baker does, baby.
You just left that wide open.
He doesn't hold on to the ball and get sacked and then say, oh, my offensive line's bad, but I threw for 300 yards.
So he only does it against Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
So there you go. There you go. Hey, man, take care. Good hearing from you, Nick.
You too, bud.
Later.
All right, 457-9464. Gary Costin on Facebook says Pro Bowler, loyal, captain, but yeah, the second year ever 1-12-1 defensive coordinator has a better handle on things. Hashtag Dunlap. So there is that. Chad Kinser, I think. Coming from a diehard Bengals fan, you are 100% right, Justin. It's 100% bad management on Cincy's part. Change that C to another N. You get to share my last name. Kinner's a smart name. Kinser, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's see more Facebook reaction. Ron Moreland, how are you going to defend Dunlap when he posted the rotation on social media? He was not fined. Fine him.
Huh?
I have no idea, but fine him. How are you going to defend Dunlap when he posted the rotation on social media? Lucky he was not fined.
The rotation, a player rotation?
I guess, but fine.
Guess what? Every team in the NFL knows your player rotation. All they got to do is watch the film.
I don't think their coordinators do. I'm just saying. All right, folks. We'll get. Again, we're done with that. We're going to talk some college football coming up. How about this? Terrell Pryor, TP, was stabbed.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
But now he's on probation.
How's that work?
Man, we're going to find out. Talk about Buckeyes coming up around the corner. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Let the joy begin with this week's sale at JCPenney. Get cozy with up to 50% off select cold weather bedding or your favorite kitchen items from Cuisinart, Wilton, and Instant Pot. Also, get select family outerwear at up to 50% off and save an extra 25% with coupon. Plus, grab our Black Friday prices earlier than ever. Shop the Black Friday kickoff at jcp.com this Sunday. JCPenney. Offers valid 10/29 to 11/5. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say on the toy boat in your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school, spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation, now hiring Class A CDL drivers for new Home Daily dedicated lanes. That's right, Home Daily, earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company-paid life insurance, outstanding new equipment, and no-touch freight. Call Cody, 937-277-7271, or apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. Enchanted Gardens Black Oil Sunflower Seed is a perfect feed that's perfect for attracting a wide variety of birds. Right now, get a 50-pound bag for just $18.49 after 11% rebate. Get 11% off everything right now at Menards. Good through Saturday, October 31st. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, this is Chris Burmick, co-owner of Butler Heating and Air Conditioning. I support LaRonda Jackson for state representative. LaRonda is reliable and responsive when called upon. Her follow-up said a lot to me about her commitment to local businesses. LaRonda Jackson is a successful business owner, and I appreciate her desire to create a better community for all of us. If you live in District 40 and want vision, unity, and values, vote LaRonda Jackson for state representative.
Paid for by Friends of LaRonda Jackson.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Walgreens has always been there to help make your healthcare easier. From making sure you have the prescriptions you need to answering any questions you have about them. Now, the question is whether you have the right Medicare plan. And we're here to help make that easier too. Walgreens can save you money and peace of mind with copays as low as $0. Visit walgreens.com/Medicare today to see how. Walgreens. We make Medicare easy. $0 copay on Tier 1 generic drugs when enrolled in a plan with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World.
The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World.
Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Fever is a leading symptom of the coronavirus, so take your temperature twice a day with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. It's quick and easy to use, and its accuracy is backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Have your family start and end their day with the only home thermometer used and recommended by hospitals, doctors, and nurses. Your family can take their temperatures in seconds to know where they stand in the fight against COVID-19. Protect your family from the spread of this deadly disease and stay safe with Exergen.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Connect with your favorite radio shows through contests, social media, and podcasts. Create custom alarms with your favorite radio stations, all free with the radio.com app.
The all-new Audible now gives you thousands of select audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all included with membership. Try it for free for 30 days. Visit audible.com.
Hey, who wants free money? Who are we kidding? We all do. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest. Listen for the word that wins 18 times a day, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the keyword at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid cash contest. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Hope everyone had a great day. We welcome you back. Back to Facebook real quick. Doug Toby says, I wonder if your college basketball coach thinks you're pretty smart. Doug, if you're talking about Mark Ashman, probably not. But he had me on that like Carlos Dunlap playing time rotation where, we all never knew from game to game what the hell was going on. So there you go as far as that concerned. That answers it. But I think I'm very smart. I think I know everything. At least that's what I've been told about me.
Interesting.
And if people would just listen to what I'm saying and agree with me, we would all get along a lot better. It's true.
So it's us, it's not you.
Absolutely.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
It's not me, it's you.
Got it.
I'm not going to do the whole it's not you, it's me. No, it's not me, it's you. You guys are the problem, not me. Come on. There you go. All right, everybody, 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Dayton Flyers basketball fans, starting tomorrow night, our brand new Dayton Flyers basketball talk show. Again, Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Again, number one Dayton Flyers basketball podcast now coming to life on radio. Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. It's going to be every Thursday, starting tomorrow night at 6 p.m. We're excited, again, because Brooks Hall is going to be his very first guest each and every week. Sully will break down the latest headlines surrounding the Dayton Flyers basketball program, as well as give you the latest on the recruiting front. And what's cool about what's going on in the world of recruiting for the Dayton Flyers, Anthony Grant and his staff literally just locked up 2 top 50 players for the class of 2021. And we're so excited to be able to debut that show again starting tomorrow night. One more time, Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully, Thursdays at 6 p.m. So make sure you tune into that starting tomorrow night. We'll have Sully on the show to introduce you to him as well. What's up?
Now, coaches can't talk about upcoming recruits, right? They can't talk about them until
I forget when that period is and all that stuff. That's why every time you ask about it, they get all So, but yeah, these kids. 2 top.
2 top. Like you say.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that again. Sully, we'll dive more into that on tomorrow night again in Brooks Hall. You'll hear a great sit-down interview with Brooks Hall as they go in depth from his journey to again ultimately committing to UD. I learned a ton about him throughout this process. So. Interesting tomorrow night. Again, one more time, Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Again, the Dayton Flyers basketball podcast, and now brought to radio Thursdays at 6 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Let's go back to the Facebook feed. Colin Cowherd Jr. question mark. No, much smarter. Dennis says Browns are 5-2, and the media talks about them like they are 2-5. I know, and I really wish they were like good, like 1-5-1, because apparently that's good. I'm done. We're done with the NFL talk. I'm done. Actually, I do got to say this one more time. This is the last Browns thing as we talk college football to start the hour number 2. When you look at right now, Baker Mayfield, after the dominating performance he had against the Cincinnati Bengals this past Sunday, 4 go-ahead touchdowns in the fourth quarter alone, just absolutely dominated the Bengals. Great defense. AFC Offensive Player of the Week, Baker Mayfield was named after I was told that, oh no, Joe Burrow was the best quarterback on the field. The only thing Joe Burrow had that was better than Baker Mayfield was total yards. Baker had a better completion percentage, was more efficient. He had less turnovers. He had more touchdowns, and he got that thing that Bengals fans forget what it's like to do, and that's, that win, baby. That's why Baker got named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, so shout out to him. Shout out to him. And
what did Joe Burrow do?
I'm pretty sure that they'll come up with some magical Player of the Week. They have so many ones out there, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He was not the best quarterback. You can't turn the ball over twice. You can't do all that stuff. I'm playing by everyone else's rules. That's the rule for Baker. Just saying. Hour 2 next. So college football. We got into Ohio State over the weekend. Got to see our first glimpse of Ohio State football over the weekend. How did you feel about it? Just in one sentence, how did you feel about the Buckeyes? Were they about what you expected? Are you a little uncomfortable with some things? Where are you at? On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable were you with what you saw on Saturday?
That's a tease.
That's a tease.
That's a tease.
Everybody panic. All right. Ohio State football talk next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part, Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, because shed happens.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and disinfectant spray services to common touch points, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
T-Mobile for Business knows saving time and money is important for your business. That's why we're introducing Microsoft 365 on us, now included in our best business plans. With Office apps, Microsoft Teams, cloud storage, and more, Microsoft 365 on us gives you the tools you need to run your business. Stop by a T-Mobile store today. Qualifying plan required. Contactless to activate. 1 license per line, max 2 per account. Third-party terms apply. See T-Mobile.com for plan details.
Pros today have to do whatever the job calls for, and the Home Depot is here to help make that easier. With a wide range of delivery options, you can get what you need, from job lot quantities to small supply runs, delivered where and when you need it. Don't want to buy the tool? Rent it. We've got the most innovative products and more ways for pros to find them, in-store and online. Pros are changing, so are we. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Ask for it at Advanced Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are out. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. For facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Be listening every hour for the word that wins and enter it at wingam.com. WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, hour number 2. All right. I know we haven't spent a lot of time on the Browns-Bengals, so we're going to do 2 more hours of that. Now, we good? I think we've all established Baker's better. We're good?
You sure?
Well, absolutely.
I don't know.
No. We're moving on.
Okay. I mean, it is the Justin Kinner Show.
No, that's not what I mean. Shut up.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I'm done talking Browns-Bengals.
You have to be in fair.
No.
Be fair.
I haven't been fair from the beginning. I'm not going to be fair now. So the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, my goodness.
Not doing it. The Ohio State Buckeyes.
I'll do it.
No. Listen to me now. Damn, where's the...
You say it.
The debate. I need to
There's not a debate. There's not a debate.
No, like the presidential debate, you needed the mute button.
Baker won an award. What award did Baker win?
He won. He won an award. Why do you keep trying to keep this on NFL?
I just want to ask you, what award did Baker Mayfield win?
I don't care what just happened.
What award did Baker Mayfield
He won Offensive Player of the Week.
Okay. And what award did Joe Burrow just win?
I talked a bunch of smack about Baker Mayfield winning Offensive Player of the Week, and then in the middle of me talking all that smack about Baker Mayfield in the AFC, then freaking Joe Burrow has to go and win Air Player of the Week, and now he's the player of the
whole NFL.
For the whole NFL. It's stupid.
Okay.
So what I
told
the
Buckeyes.
No.
On to the Buckeyes.
Joe Burrow. I mean, the NFL loves losers now. Apparently, you don't even have to win football games to be considered great in the NFL right now. I mean, in the NBA, it's LeBron versus Michael. We're talking championships. We're talking winning games. We're talking about getting to the playoffs. And then here's Joe Burrow in the NFL just winning awards for, I'm the best player on a crappy team.
Bengal fans, I'll be trying to help y'all, man. I'll be trying to help y'all. Even though I'm not a fan of y'all team, I try to look out for y'all because I do believe that he's a little unfair.
I'm not unfair. I'm realistic. 5-1.
Joe Burrow. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye.
Yeah, the guy on Facebook today tried telling me, Ryan Strong says, Baker better than Burrow. Laugh my ass off. Someone's smoking crack.
Smoking crack.
Yes. Keep in mind, by the way, I never said that Baker is better than Burrow, and I'm not going to say Burrow's better than Baker, but this past Sunday, Baker was better than Burrow. Oh, but Joe Burrow had more yards.
In the AFC, but not the NFL.
Joe Burrow had more yards. That's it. And like I said yesterday, that doesn't mean anything. 4 of the top 5 leaders in total yards are all on losing teams this year. Burrow only has, I think, 180 more yards than Gardner Minshew. And Jaguars fans aren't sitting there saying, my God, look how many yards he throws for. They're looking for Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields or anyone else they can get their hands on. So keep throwing a lot. Keep trying to tell people that your offensive line's bad while you're throwing for 300 yards a game. Yeah, it's not very convincing. I don't feel you get sacked a lot. Throw the ball away, idiot. And you want to hold it and be sacked every time, that's on you. Anyways, Buckeyes. The team that he wasn't good enough to win the starting job for.
Oh, my gosh.
So Ohio State over the weekend beats Nebraska 52-17. And of course, at halftime, it got a little, Nebraska puts 14 up. They go up early, by the way. But Ohio State, they do their thing, 24-14 at the half. And at no point, even when Ohio State, defensively, when Nebraska's moving the ball, Keith Byers talks about this all the time, that you're going to have programs in the Big Ten that when you have a quarterback that's been around as long as Martinez has, you're going to have groups that are going to be on a cycle of like they're going to be good every couple of years because eventually your young players are going to be, they're going to be experienced and they're going to be able to compete a little bit more than in most years. And I think that's what you saw. Plus, it was the very first game. And you also got to see why you always schedule a MAC team or a Bethune-Cookman or something like that. As you always schedule those teams early in the season because if you do come out to a slower start or whatever, you're fine. You're fine. And they were fine against Nebraska. I really wasn't worried. I mean, you lose Chase Young. You lose all this defensive talent that Ohio State had a year ago. Okuda and all those guys, of course you're going to be a little shaky in the very first time you step foot out on the field going up against an opponent that's not yourself. So I really wasn't concerned at all. Justin Fields, 20 of 21. I mean, talk about if it wasn't Baker Mayfield. It's almost Baker Mayfield efficiency right there. My goodness, no. But in all seriousness, Justin Fields, 20 of 21, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. I feel good. I mean, I love Garrett Wilson, 7 receptions, 129 yards. And we're seeing that already. Multiple receivers for Ohio State being big-time playmakers right off the bat. Like, I like what I saw this past Saturday. I don't think anyone out there is complaining about what they saw, but there were a couple things you were, like, iffy about.
I am very iffy, and one major iffy thing is the productivity of the offensive line. The offensive line just was not getting that push. And I know a lot of people are just going to look at the running backs. Well, Dobbins would have hit that hole better than this. Dobbins would have hit that hole better than that. No. It is 4 of the same starters that were there last year. They didn't have that push. We can chalk it up to this being the first game, and that's what I'll do for the most part. But in the next game, I want to see that offensive line get a push. I also would like to see Justin Fields throw the ball away. I mean, it's great that you complete a bunch of passes, but he hung onto the ball a little bit too much for my taste. You can get out the pocket and run and slide or get out of bounds, but he took a couple too many sacks for my taste early in that game. Also, a thing that I knock Clemson about, I'm going to knock Ohio State about. It's not the secondary. I think the secondary would be fine. People talk about how they got outflanked on that big touchdown run and everything like that. Things happen. But I don't necessarily believe that this scheme that they're running this year, which is the same scheme that they ran last year with the one high safety, I don't necessarily believe that's the best scheme for this team. I don't believe that you have the best players in the position to run that scheme. When you had a guy that started 3 years and Jordan Fuller at the back end, you can do stuff like that. When you got, you got 3, you're going to have basically on last year's defense, 3 guys that go in the first round. You got Sean Wade, and Sean Wade, let's not act like he's not playing a new position. He played slot corner. Slot corner and outside corner are 2 different positions. People are just going to say, well, it's quarterback. No, it's 2 totally different things. You're responsible for two different things. So you basically got 4 new starters in the secondary. I think that'll work itself out. But the linebackers, there's still no playmakers at the linebacker level. And that is, for Ohio State, that's alarming for me. I don't see any playmakers out there
for a while too.
I know, and I'm not trying to knock on Tough Borland and everything like that, and Pete Warner, but the playmaking ability, I just don't see it. I know it's one game, but still, like, they don't look explosive to me. So I'm gonna chalk it up to game 1. You make a major step in game 2, make some plays, and I'll shut up. But I am very tough on the Buckeyes. People accuse me of being a Buckeye hater, but I am not. I am extremely tough on the Buckeyes because they're a great team, and we expect greatness from our team.
You keep doing this, they're going to beat you up in the message boards and
in me. But that's just how I saw the game. Yeah, it ended up being a comfortable win, a blowout win for the Buckeyes. But those small things, ultimately, those are the things that a Clemson sees on tape, that an Alabama sees on tape, and they can take advantage of. I just don't think personally this defense that they ran last year is going to work like it did last year. I don't think this personnel is as good as last year because the defensive front isn't going to cause havoc. Obviously, the big name loss is Chase Young, the Hellraiser he was. And everybody's expecting, like, oh, we just plug in Harrison, and he's going to do the exact same thing that the 2 Bosas did and Chase Young did. Well, he was kind of MIA.
Yep. And here's the deal, too. When we talk about these defensive struggles, and again, everyone's like, it's 52-17. They only scored 3 points in the second half. You're going to get away with that in the Big Ten. So when we're talking about like, oh man, the linebacker play makes us nervous, man, the secondary didn't look as sharp as what we thought it was going to look. The pass rush isn't as strong as what it was a year ago. That's fine, especially when you get into November and you got Illinois, you got, you just got Rutgers, you got Maryland, you're fine.
Yes.
You will be fine if you're Ohio State. The only test you're really going to have is this week against Penn State, and then you basically have a bye month in November, and then you'll have that team up north who looks pretty good against Minnesota. I don't know if Minnesota was overrated or not. They have a lot of offense. They have a lot of future NFL talent on that roster, so no, I think that team up north looked solid. People don't like complimenting them, but you need them. You need them to look good because, again, not a lot of big resume building opportunities here. Now, Ohio State's going to automatically get the rub. You saw the AP poll. They shot right up to the top, rightfully so, I think number 3. But when we start bringing up these issues and these weaknesses and these flaws, I'm not bringing it up because I'm worried about, oh, man, Maryland's going to expose them or Indiana's going to expose. I'm thinking Clemson. I'm thinking first-round playoff matchup with Alabama.
Right.
I'm thinking, what if it's Georgia? I'm thinking those elite teams in college football, you can get away with those flaws against a Nebraska, against possibly a Penn State who's not as strong defensively because a lot of guys aren't playing that were originally going to play. You can get away with it in the Big Ten. You're not going to get away with that come college football playoff time. But to your point, it's early. It means nothing. Now, here's my concerns. And 457-9464, by the way, I want to hear people's thoughts on what were your takeaways from the Buckeyes game against Nebraska over the weekend? We're nitpicking, but you need to nitpick with this team. You can't just be okay with blowing out bad opponents because I think what happened last year and this is why I always do this, people get so mad at me. I could be labeled a Bengals troll. I could sleep at night with that label. I'm not a Buckeye troll. I look at the Buckeyes and I hold them to a high standard because it's like when I see them not playing to an elite level in certain aspects of the game, it's not that like it upsets me because I think they're not capable of winning the Big Ten. My mindset is you can get away with that in the Big Ten. You can't get away with it when you go up against a Clemson or an Alabama, even though they beat Alabama last time they played them. I just wanted to beat people to that punch, so I didn't have to hear that. But Trevor Lawrence is going to take advantage of your weak linebackers. Your secondary, if they play like that against Clemson, if they come against them like they did against Nebraska, Trevor Lawrence is going to have a field day. Mac Jones in Alabama is going to have a field day. All right, their running backs are going to ETN. All right, you look at the running back, obviously, for Alabama, they're going to have a field day. So it is very important that when you see these flaws, and keep an eye on them, they're going to get better. They'll be fine by the time you get to January and you get into these college football playoff situations. But as of right now, it's just something to circle and keep an eye on. You want to know what I was concerned about?
What's up?
Justin Fields completed 21 passes, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fantastic. Super, very confident in the pocket, very in control of the offense. Trey Sermon, Master Teague. They combined for 89 yards rushing on 22 attempts. I'm having flashbacks to the JT Barrett days. You know why? Who led the team in carries? Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Not only is Justin Fields running for his, I shouldn't say life, that's a bad comparison to use right now considering everything going on, but Justin Fields is constantly on the run from the coronavirus because we all know, and I'm not being funny here, if he catches it, look at what's happening with Wisconsin. It's a huge deal. So he's not, even when he's not playing, he's constantly on the run, just trying to, remain as healthy as possible when he's not on the field. And now on the field, he ran the ball 15 times. Trey Sermon ran the ball 11 times. Master Teague ran the ball 12 times. Steele Chambers 4, Jack Miller 2, and Xavier Johnson 4. It's a nitpicky thing, but I'm going to nitpick it. You don't want Justin Fields running more than your running backs.
Right.
You were only supposed to have Trey Sermon technically. Master Teague was not supposed to be healthy to start the season. You are now healthy enough to have Trey Sermon and Master Teague. Okay? You should not have Justin Fields in any game, even in game one, even if Justin Fields has the ability to make plays with his legs, Kev. If I can nitpick anything, Justin Fields does not at any point ever, he should never lead this team in carries, ever. That's my only complaint I have about the offense. I think Trey Sermon, Master Teague will get better. I just expected more power up front just because that offensive line having the experience that they did. Give Nebraska credit. They had enforcement up front. Good for them. But I want to see more. But, man, I love the receivers, man. How about Garrett Wilson? 7 receptions, 129 yards and a touchdown. Chris Olave, 6 receptions for 104 yards. Julian Fleming, 1 catch for 13. And then, of course, you're going to talk about the tight end usage, too. Keith Byers was talking about that on Sunday morning, that he wishes that, you need to get them involved more.
We always say that.
Yeah, they need to be involved more. But overall, I was very impressed. It was week 1, game 1, and now it sets the stage for this Penn State game, which lost a little bit of its luster with them losing to Indiana this past Saturday. I was really bummed out about that. But man, I can't wait to see Ohio State this weekend and see that step that they take, because I'm fine with this week 1. You still, even on not your best day, you put 50 points up on a team that showed more fight than pretty much all the Big Ten teams did last year. I'll take it.
I like what you said about Nebraska. They came to play, and you got to give them credit and respect for just basically not just showing up to the Ohio State Invitational. Like, all right, we're here to help you guys on your way to the national championship. They came in and they competed, and they gave it their best shot. But we're Buckeye fans, and we expect a lot from the Buckeyes, and we expect them to dominate. And, we expect a tight games, but, there's just certain things that just stand out to us that jump off. And I know if they're jumping out to us as fans, the coaching staff is circling that, and they're working on that all week long. And hopefully they can make a big step in game 2.
Let's go to we're going to the phones right now. 457-9464. Real quick, your thoughts on this. Doug Toby says, Coach Day showed a vanilla run game because he's playing Penn State this week. Pretty smart as a coach. Do you believe that's the case?
Man, all these games count. These are all conference games. This isn't the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. This isn't.
They were MAC champions. You better not disrespect them.
This isn't the Ohio Bobcats. How about that? They're better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ohio, they had 3 football players who got arrested at a frat party recently. So they're in trouble with that. So
don't do that, guys. That's not cool.
Mask up. How about that, right? But no, I know. But yes.
But I get it. I get what you're saying. Like, you're not pulling out all the stops and everything like that. But that has nothing to do with push of the offensive line. Drawing up these cool plays doesn't mean anything if you're not pushing the offensive line. They basically were at stalemate, and you expect the Ohio State offensive line to create holes and to create a push, and that push really wasn't happening. Are we just going to give a lot of credit to Nebraska and being ready and being game for that game to basically hold them at a stalemate? Yeah, but still, we want to see a push from the offensive line for the Buckeyes. Got a lot of guys that could have been getting ready for the NFL draft, and Wyatt Davis and so many other guys that opted back in. We want a national championship. We deserve a national championship. They deserve a national championship, and they need to give a national championship effort every single game.
Ron Howard, OSU this year, their D won't hang with Bama or Clemson. To be fair, not a lot of defenses are hanging with anybody right now. But the expectation is that Ohio State has enough talent that they should be. Secondary, defensive, a lot of, holes being filled, but still. Let's go to the phones. Who we have?
We got Mark.
Mark, how are you, sir? Welcome in.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
Good.
If it's possible for 2 guys to steal every bit of my thunder, I think you guys did. But I did find, I'm going to nitpick 3 things. And I was going to grade out each area, but I'm not going to do it. Take too long. Love Fields. I think we have the best receiving core in football. I do believe that the offensive line will get a little better. That's why you didn't see a whole lot of Sterling runs out of Sermon and Teague, although I love Trey Sermon. I think he's got that speed like Curtis Samuel had when we didn't have all that speed back there. But there are 2 areas I'm going to take an absolute swing at, and you guys know I bleed scarlet and gray. That team in Nebraska, between about 8 high hits, helmet-to-helmet shots, Scott Frost, I think, was saying, we can out-physical this team. I didn't see anybody respond with a big hit. I don't mean a dirty hit, but I don't think in a Katzenmoyer team or a Ryan Shazier team or a Pepper Johnson team, they're not going to stand by and let guys get blown up, and nobody's going to go out there and dust off a couple of Nebraska players. I think we were beat physically, and I think Alabama and Clemson know that, and they watch it. So I was really disappointed in our fierceness and our ability to blow people up when we need to really hit somebody. So I would grade the physicality as a D, but I'm going to give one area an F, and I've been giving these guys an F for 3 years. And you guys touched on it. I have never seen a linebacking crew either select the wrong holes to shoot gaps, giving up gashing runs early, or I saw plays where Pete Warner and Tuff Borland, when the snap was made, they're turning and running with their back, and the play's going the complete opposite way. This could be the weakest linebacker crew I have ever seen at Ohio State. And I grade the whole team as a B, only because the F brings the A down. That's the worst linebackers I've ever seen.
Yeah, and again, they're good. You can get away in that to what we just discussed. It's like, okay, everyone's
Correct,
like, we're haters to a certain point in the eyes of most Buckeye fans, but I view things as, I never look at them as how this can impact you against a Maryland or a Rutgers, but I'm thinking college football play. This team is a national championship contender, and you got to be weary when you start seeing things like that. The only thing I'll say is it is week one, and usually you see, I think we see some of these errors in week one a lot of times against the Miami of Ohio, and last year was Florida Atlantic, and you remember it was 28-0 at the end of the first quarter against Florida Atlantic. I mean, the game was done before it started, so we really couldn't nitpick. This is why you see teams open up with opponents like that versus going right into conference play, because even the worst of your conference still is going to have a different kind of physicality level than what you would go up against a team out of the MAC.
I agree, but you've been seeing this out of Pete Warner and Tough Borland.
True.
And they've been starting. I mean, you saw the first series in Nebraska. They scored in 5 plays in 2 minutes and 80 yards covered. And there were plays when the ball was running around the left end, and Pete Warner's running the other way. He's going either toward the center of the field, or Baron Browning was not there. Or Borland, I did notice after the first couple of series, they moved Borland to the one side, took him out of the middle. Pete Warner as a middle linebacker in the first series was a joke. They moved Borland back to the middle, but they blew so many lanes and coverages that Nebraska gashed us. And the only reason the gashing didn't continue is our offense was so great that Nebraska fell behind. And you saw in the second half when we knew they were going to pass, we got some sacks on their quarterback. The defensive line started to shine. If that linebacker crew doesn't stop the gaps and start covering tight ends, and going with the correct hole and going with the correct read, we are in trouble on defense. Because I think the backers played well, the deep backers played okay, I think the defensive line played okay. But the linebackers got to help. Their better play helps the secondary and the defensive line out big time.
I agree with you.
I
agree with you big time, but I got a question for you. What are you more concerned about, the current starting linebackers or the backup linebackers? Because Tough Borland, Pete Warner, they've been starters for like 2-3 years now. So if none of the younger recruits that they brought in and the guys playing beneath them are good enough to take their spot, what does that mean for the following years? So that's my concern.
I was on the phone Saturday with my best friend, and we were talking about the game. I said, we're the top 3 team in the country every year. Alan, and I told my buddy, are you telling me nobody on that bench is better than Pete Warner and Tough Borland? And so I'm very concerned with where we're going. And like JK said there, Justin, we're okay against Maryland, Rutgers, Indiana, Purdue, Nebraska. That's great. But, man, when ETN for Clemson hits that hole, if he gets to the second level and gets to our linebackers, they're not going to be there to stop anybody. Because when that run's coming at them, they're going the other way. I mean, those guys ran the wrong way.
Now, you're talking about ETN, but keep in mind, they played Clemson last year. It was Trevor Lawrence who put up 100 rushing yards on him, to be clear. So it's like when you play elite teams, you get exposed in areas that like fans weren't expecting that they should have been. Fans weren't expecting Trevor Lawrence to do that, but when your weaknesses aren't as exposed against the competition that Ohio State usually goes up against, sometimes you don't know until it's too late, and then when you have an elite competition. Exactly. Like that. So that's going to be the thing.
They've got to get the linebacker. Either those guys need to sit down or watch the film. And we've been blessed in the past that great linebackers like Hawk and Shazier, they would hold their spot, and then they would blow that hole up and tear up that running back. These guys on the snap, if you watch, they're already running to the wrong hole, or they're going the other way, and it exposed us so bad. But I'm equally disappointed in the fact that after high hit after high hit after high hit, nobody started putting some licks on some Nebraska players. I think the Nebraska was more physical. I think we are so much better skilled player-wise than anybody in the Big Ten easily, but I didn't see the physicality, man. Nebraska come out and smacked us in the mouth, and we just said, okay, well, we'll just start throwing touchdown passes. But I want to see somebody start knocking some heads around. I want a Katzenmoyer or some monster out there, and I think Malik Harrison could be that guy, but he didn't show it on Saturday either.
All right, good stuff. Mark, great hearing from you. Great insight, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
later.
457-946. All right, folks, I want to hear from you. Are we being too harsh? Are we being too hard on the Buckeyes? I don't think we are. Again, I'm not talking about what this means for Ohio State against bad teams, but again, look, let's be clear. We are disrespecting Penn State right now. I don't care that they lost to Indiana, because if you think Nebraska was a little physical with Ohio State, Penn State, they're going to punch them in the mouth too. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying punch them in the mouth on the scoreboard, but they're going to be very physical with them offensively and defensively. Mm-hmm. They're going to be pissed too.
Yeah.
Like,
Penn State, do or die for Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State, like their season is on. This is a playoff game for them. Yeah. Like, and I don't even think they have a chance to make the playoffs, even if they beat Ohio State coming up.
Oh, if they run the table, they're in.
We'll debate that, but just everything's on the line. All that, I mean, that won't even be an option if they don't win Saturday. So, Ohio State, this isn't a tune-up game. Like, we keep treating this regular season like it's a preseason for the college football playoff, but the season could be over before it technically even gets started if you slip up. And keep in mind, I'm going to tell you why Wisconsin's a prime example of why Ohio State can't just act like if they beat Penn State on Saturday that the playoff is in the bag, because this season's so unpredictable. Wisconsin coming up this Saturday. There is no Wisconsin game on Saturday. COVID gets the better of the Badgers. We're going to talk about that around the corner. But Buckeye fans, what's your number one concern about what you saw on Saturday, and what do you feel good about? What made you feel good about what you saw from the Buckeyes? We'll get to that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Trick or treat. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with a high near 58. Tonight will be cloudy with rain, a low around 46. And tomorrow is going to be cloudy with rain, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts takes the stress out of maintaining your home comfort system. Pay no money down, one low monthly rate, and nothing for maintenance and repairs. The Advantage program from Stevenson Service Experts. Learn more at 866-EXPERTS or StevensonHVAC.com. See website for license details.
Looking for fall flavor that really brings the heat? Enjoy a home-style meal with a kick at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, thanks to our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $6.49. Dip into your spicy side with a big helping of our Spicy Jumbo Dippers, an individual side, a fluffy biscuit, and a regular drink, all at a great price. It's the easy way to fire up your taste buds. Get a home-style meal made easy with our Spicy Jumbo Dippers combo for only $6.49. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Where is your haircut gone? We know you don't get out as much. You don't drive by your regular Sport Clips and pop in for that MVP haircut experience that is so much more than a haircut. But isn't it worth getting out for? For that legendary hot steam towel for your face, massaging shampoo that makes you melt into your seat. Oh man, you remember that, right? We found your haircut. It's right where you left it. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
There's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Ever wonder just how far an extra mile really goes? Drive a Mercedes-Benz van and find out. Start with a network of over 250 authorized dealerships, backed by a sales force ready to help you with everything from customization to service on vans like the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter that's tailored to your lifestyle, with options like blind spot assist and MBUX voice command for spoken directions, weather, and more.
The route is being calculated.
So whether you're enjoying life on the trail or working hard on the job, see how far an extra mile can really go by taking the first step into an authorized Mercedes-Benz van dealership today. Now with IRS Section 179, businesses can be eligible for up to a $25,900 tax deduction. That's up to $5,439 in tax savings.
Options and model availability may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Some equipment described is optional. $5,439 tax savings based on 21% federal tax rate and eligibility to claim full $25,900 Section 179 vehicle deduction. Your tax rate and eligibility may vary. Consult your tax advisor for more information. Limits may apply. Visit nbvans.com. Offer valid through December 31st, 2020.
Call It Propane has been serving the Buckeye Nation in the Miami Valley for over 65 years.
Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Ask about the service options at 937-372-9194.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Call It Propane and Call It Seal Coating are proud to serve the Buckeye Nation.
You have empty office space to fill. You know what you need, and you know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places that what you need and what you'd like, that might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half price and below manufacturer suggested prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really. Desks from $50 to $5,000. File cabinets, $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Outlet. With 87,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. 2 locations. One at 23 McOil Street, Dayton. The other, Uniques Unlimited on South Dixie. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturday, 10 to 4.
David Brandon will make an excellent probate judge.
He's honorable. He's honest. He's a diligent worker, competent, very thorough in his work.
I think he will take the time to be conscientious and thoughtful about his decision making.
It isn't just that he knows the law, though. It's that he cares and why that matters.
Dave Brandon will work hard for the families of Montgomery County.
David was there for me, and I feel like he'll be there for other families as well. He knows the right thing to do.
I am David Brandon, and I approve this message.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Smoothbrook, Illinois.
With the $10 tastemaker from Pizza Hut, I can get a large with up to 3 toppings, so I don't have to pick between them. Nope, don't need that stress in my life. Order yours online at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Prices and participation may vary. Extra charge for pan, stuffed crust, extra cheese, and more toppings.
This is time that matters. A window of time to help protect the ones you love. Your preteen benefits from staying up to date with their well visits. This is your window of protection. Schedule their well visit now. Brought to you by Merck.
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Cincinnati Bengals, Tennessee Titans kick off this Sunday, 1 o'clock. Tennessee, the Titans are a 5.5-point favorite. Over under at 53.5. You gonna take the over on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over.
I'm taking the under.
Why?
Tennessee, their defense isn't as good as last year, but I don't see the Bengals scoring at ease against that Titans defense.
Well, the Bengals defense ain't that good.
So you're going to say that the Titans are going to score 30?
Yes.
Damn it. I keep forgetting both sides are equally bad. Browns are a 2.5-point favorite. That line shifted a little bit. I think it was at 3.5 or 3 originally against the Raiders. Over under 52.5.
Over.
I'm going to take the over on this too. The last time these two teams played, it was 45-42 Raiders after the Browns had a big lead earlier in the game. And yeah, so, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. We had Jason Fitz on, big Raiders fan, yesterday. He talked about, look, the Raiders have one of the worst pass rushes in football. If Baker Mayfield's going to pick up where he left off against Cincinnati as far as sharing the ball and just being more confident in the pocket, he's going to have plenty of time in the pocket. And keep in mind, we talk as if the offensive line's bad. That offensive line's good. So if you already have a good offensive line going up against a team that doesn't bring the pressure, I think you're in good shape as far as that goes. Who we got? Is this Raiders fan, Jerry?
Yep. Yeah, you should definitely take the over for Sunday. That's for sure. It's going to be like 50-45. I don't think
Browns aren't going to win 50-45. They're going to win like 45 to like 38 or something.
Well, man, I'm just saying they're going to score a lot. But I don't think either defense is going to stop either other team at all. So it'll be a track meet. But, man, you can't put dominating performance and against the Bengals in the same sentence if it's only a 3-point victory, Justin. Come on.
The offense dominated the Bengals. I don't know what's so hard to figure out about that. The Bengals offense dominated the Browns defense. It's not that hard.
Sure didn't dominate in the first half. That's for sure.
Okay.
I'm just in your defense. I mean,
are we going to know? Man, what about went up and down the
man? What
defense? Remember from the minute of 7 minutes to 9 minutes in the third quarter. I mean, neither team scored in that whole stretch. I mean, really, you're going to just break it down to every little time a window to back your point.
I'm just saying, if the Bengals have the ball last in that game, they win. You know it, and I know it. So
I don't know it.
I do.
We don't.
They weren't.
Joe Burrow had 2 turnovers. He could have turned it over a third time.
Yeah, but your guys got to be able to catch the ball in the back end, brother.
Okay. And
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I mean, who knows? Maybe a meteor comes and hits planet Earth, and the game doesn't even finish. I mean, you're doing a lot of what-if scenarios here, brother.
Take the over on the Raiders Browns.
We've established that.
Be a shootout. So, as far as the Buckeyes go, I don't know. I kind of agree with you guys. Justin Fields look great. Receivers look great. Offensive line needs to play a lot better. Defensive line needs to play a lot better. And the linebacking core is not up to championship standards, that's for sure. I think the secondary will get it worked out. They're kind of young back there. I'm not so worried about the secondary.
The problem with them getting worked out is they don't have any good passing teams on their schedule until that team up north at the end of the year. So I know what you're saying, but I don't know the next time. Like Martinez is a good quarterback, and that might be the best quarterback they play all year. I mean, you know what I mean? So I don't know. So how they're not going to be tested a lot as far as that's concerned until that team up north at the end, which is great because that gives you 7 games to at least just get be out on the field and just get comfortable as far as that's concerned. But you're right, they'll be fine. They whatever being fine means, they'll be fine for the Big Ten schedule. Just hopefully they're able to close the gap enough between now and the college football playoff because it could be a repeat of what we saw last year.
Yeah, they have to get better, though. That's absolutely. And the offensive line, there's no excuse for how they looked. There's none. That group should. I would imagine the coaches are on their rear ends this week.
Yeah,
Kev, they did not look good.
Justin Fields got sacked 3 times in that game.
Yeah,
he hangs onto the ball. He hangs onto the ball a lot.
Well, I heard when you get sacked a lot, that means your offensive line's bad.
Here you go.
No,
stay on the Buckeyes.
They didn't look good, guys. You could tell just in the running game they didn't look good.
I didn't see the push there from the offensive line. As far as Justin Fields, like he tends to hang onto the ball a long time, looking for that big shot downfield, and that's what young quarterbacks do. And let's not be fooled. This is only his second year as a starting quarterback, so he has a lot to learn. But it's just like those things that I know I brag on you about jumping over this season and getting ready for the playoffs, but it's alarming, man. You know where we want to be, and you know the teams that we're going to play, the caliber of teams that we're going to play. So it's always you're watching those other teams, seeing what they do well and what you don't do well as a team, and thinking like, okay, how are they going to attack that? How are we going to attack the things that they don't do well? And once this is week one, the other teams have been playing for a while. Do they have the upper hand, or do we have the upper hand because we haven't been going to be as banged up as they are? It's a ton going on. You know, we look at Alabama. They lost one of their star wide receivers for the year with a broken ankle. It's just a ton. This is college football.
And let's be clear, I've seen that Bama defense look bad this year too against like Ole Miss. I mean, so it can happen, right? You can have a bad game. But when we get to the offensive line, I heard all offseason how we've got 3 first to second round picks on that offensive line in Myers and Davis and Munford. And Al Davis used to have a saying, with great players, you don't take what the defense gives you, you take what you want, right? And this offensive line, with that talent, with those 3 guys, they should be taking what they want against, especially against teams like Nebraska, right? It shouldn't even be a question. So the biggest disappointment I have is that offensive line. The defensive line, it's their first game. They're replacing Chase Young. You know, they got to get some game experience. They do have to be better. But I'll give them a pass like you, Kev Nash. I'll give them a pass because it was their first game, right? The secondary, same thing. Give them a pass. It's their first game. They have to get better, no doubt about it, but give them a pass. But that offensive line, that group, I'm sorry. I don't care if you put 52 points up on Nebraska. It doesn't matter. That offensive line did not live up to the hype and their talent level, and they need to play a lot better. And if they don't play better next week, this weekend we could get beat.
All right, Jerry, good stuff. Adios, man.
All right, later, guys.
Peace.
In all this, talking about the Buckeyes, Ron Howard chimes in with Tom Brady's MVP at 43. Okay, Ron.
The Ron.
We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. More than Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash next.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash. We've been expecting you. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Oktoberfest at Milano's has begun. We're serving our once-a-year favorites like schnitzel sandwiches and German pizza. Get it to go or stay for the games with NFL Sunday Ticket. See you at Milano's Pizza Subs and Taps for big screen football.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man versus Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
While serving in Iraq, an IED took both my legs, but it didn't take my spirit.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Greg Gatson, Army veteran.
DAV helps veterans and their families get the benefits they've earned.
Today, I'm an entrepreneur, photographer, and public speaker.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is just being the best that I can be.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
Good night.
There's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
Here's Howie Long for Skechers Arch Fit Shoes.
If you've never tried Arch Fit shoes from Skechers, you're missing out on next level comfort. Saying you like comfort but not trying Arch Fit is like saying you like Italian food but you've never tried pasta. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists who used over 20 years of data to create a shoe that provides total foot and arch support for all-day comfort. Arch Fit distributes support across the arch no matter what foot type you have. You don't need an arch problem to love how they feel.
See all the styles of machine washable Arch Fit shoes now at Skechers.com.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at USPS.com/votinginfo. There you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at USPS.com/votinginfo.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring for brand new home daily dedicated lanes. Earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next project with 11% off everything. Insulate your home and lower energy costs with Guardian by Knauf Insulation. It offers year-round comfort and is perfect for both commercial and residential projects. Save today with 11% off Guardian by Knauf Insulation. Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through Saturday, October 31st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Untuck It knows that for the past 6 months, getting dressed for the day has been harder than ever. But did you know that a recent study by the Wall Street Journal says that getting dressed for the workday from home can boost your performance and productivity? You can still look great and stay comfortable in Untuck It shirts. They're designed to be worn untucked. Plus, they come out of the dryer wrinkle-free. So for your next Zoom call, lose the t-shirt and grab an Untuck It shirt instead. Use code RADIO for 20% off your next purchase at any Untuck It store or at untuckit.com. Untuck It shirts designed to be worn untucked.
My name is Kate Courtney, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Spotify. Can You Survive This Podcast?
Staples helps your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices. From office essentials like paper and ink to health essentials like masks and sanitizer. Save big at Staples.
Whether it's betting on the big game, catching up on bills, or saving up for the holidays, we could all use a little extra cash this time of year. Hey, how does $1,000 sound? It's the ESPN Dayton #WeWannaGetPaid Cash Contest. Listen for the word that wins every hour, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the word at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WING studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Just a reminder, tomorrow night we debut the new Dayton Flyers men's basketball show that we have right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, Talking Out Loud, Thursdays, every Thursday, starting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, hosted by Sully. Sully, again, started the Talking Out Loud podcast, and he brings the podcast to life on radio, and it'll debut tomorrow. Tune in every Thursday night at 6 p.m. as Sully breaks down the latest headlines and recruiting news surrounding the Dayton Flyers program. Sully will also bring you weekly guests such as former players, along with local and national college basketball writers and reporters. The debut of the Talking Out Loud podcast on radio tomorrow, ESPN 1410 Wing AM. Will debut tomorrow night again, 6 o'clock. Sully sits down with former Flyers great Brooks Hall, and he will, of course, also go in-depth on the historic recruiting week that the Flyers just had, signing 2 top 50 players for the class of 2021. So we're excited again. That debuts tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Again, Talking Out Loud. So make sure you check that out. Again, it'll be coming up immediately following our show tomorrow night. One more thing about the Buckeyes game against Nebraska over the weekend, and then we're going to get into the Big Ten conversation about what's going on with Nebraska and how that can honestly, not Nebraska, Wisconsin. It does impact Nebraska as well. Nebraska, you lose 52-17. I'm not going to try and say Nebraska, there was moral victories in there, but Nebraska held their own. They were physical with Ohio State. A lot of teams back down, or they can't match up with Ohio State from a physicality standpoint. One thing you can give Nebraska is that they were able to hold their own from a physicality standpoint against the Buckeyes this past Saturday. Mm-hmm. What's going on this Saturday is what I fear ever happening to Ohio State, and that is what happens if Justin Fields tests positive for the coronavirus. Of course, we would be concerned about his health. That's the number one priority. But secondly, you'd be worried about, okay, any player in the Big Ten that tests positive for the coronavirus, you are automatically out for 21 days. That's 3 games. That's almost half the season. We're 1 game in. So we're at 7 games. 3 games puts you at 4 left. And at every week that goes by, it's like, okay, you survive this week. But you're fearing that the later you get into the season, can you imagine Ohio State getting to the final week of Michigan and then having Justin Fields test positive for the coronavirus? He's done.
Right.
Well, technically not. Because you would be out for 3 weeks, technically. But you see my point. The bottom line is that this is a big deal. Well, we were so excited about the Big Ten coming back to play, although Kevin brought it up on multiple occasions. I don't think fans actually bought into what exactly the fine print was. And the fine print was, you want to play during a pandemic, fine. But it's like, this is the point of the commercial where this medicine is going to get rid of your headache. But again, you're going to have abdominal bleeding. You're going to have, you're going to go blind. You're going to lose feeling in your right arm. But we are so glad that your headache is gone. We are so glad that there's Big Ten football. But keep in mind, if you test positive for the coronavirus, you're going to be out for pretty much the entire rest of the season.
Only in the Big Ten.
Only in the Big Ten. And what Wisconsin just happened with them is that they already started the season with a backup quarterback in Mertz, and he looked really good, by the way, against Illinois this past Friday night, I'm sorry, and he tests positive. So he's already the backup, technically. Mm-hmm. Now, the backup to the backup also tested positive for the coronavirus. So now you have 3 quarterbacks, 1 out for the year, 2 out for the next 3 weeks, and Wisconsin has Nebraska, or had Nebraska, coming up this Saturday. Wisconsin canceled the game with Nebraska due to the outbreak of the virus. Now, keep in mind that it's not an outbreak. There was a coach that tested positive too. But I have a problem with Wisconsin canceling the game. I'm going to tell you why coming up. And if I'm Nebraska, I'm pissed. I'll also explain why I have a problem with that here in a second. But you want to know what I had a problem with this past Saturday, Kev, against Nebraska? How many quarterbacks played for the Buckeyes? 2. 1. No backup came in.
I thought, okay.
But as far as if Jack Miller came in, he didn't throw a pass.
Yeah,
he had 2 rush. He had 2 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown. So, but he didn't pass the ball once.
Right.
I have a problem with that. You're up big, 52-17. If it means that the score is not as big there towards the end, like it was 45-52, and Ryan Day, I called him Urban again. Ryan Day apologized at the end, which I wanted to just say, shut your mouth. Stop apologizing. That's weak. Shut up. Because you're not sorry and you shouldn't be sorry. The college football playoff is all about style points. The college football playoff is all about just sticking it to your opponent, because when the college football playoff committee is taking that, they're going to be combing through your resume with a fine-tooth comb. They're going to be looking for every reason not to put you in. You got to make sure you give them a reason not to come in. Oh, you started out a little slow. So what? We beat them 52-17. That looks better than 45-17. When you score more than 50, that gets people's attention. Stop apologizing, Ryan Day. That's the weakest thing I've ever seen you do, and you're doing a great job, but don't apologize. I don't care if that looked like running up the score. But the problem I had was that you only played Justin Fields. What happens if Justin Fields goes out?
Right.
Now, Jack Miller is who they went to right away. Can he pass? We knew he could pass in high school. That's how he got to Ohio State.
Right.
They went after Jack Miller, and they went after these guys that we know are capable of playing at a high level and, in high school. And, they were able to come to Ohio State. I'm excited, I'm excited about what, the future is going to hold for those guys, but the future could be as early as next week.
Right.
I mean, while we're on the air right now, breaking news can go across that Justin Fields has tested positive and Jack Miller will be the quarterback against Penn State. Can he throw? We don't know. I mean, he's gone up against Ohio State's defense in practice, but how hard is he being pressured? How hard is he being hit? How physical are practices at Ohio State? You don't want to get your quarterbacks hurt during practice. So the first time that he could see the field against an opponent could be a very first time as a starter. My thing is this. You're going to be blowing opponents out, Ryan Day. It is very important to get your quarterbacks out on the field as much as possible. Look at what just happened with Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's not Wisconsin's fault. It wouldn't be Ohio State's fault. But you got to be prepared. I do think it was weird that they did not allow him to throw. I would have given him time to throw, see what you got, because at any second of any day, Justin Fields can go out. Not even just an injury, but with COVID, who do you have behind him? You need to have those guys ready, and I don't think practice time is enough to fully simulate what they're going to be experiencing being thrown out into a game.
Yeah, you don't want to have your first pass actually be in a real game. You know what I'm saying? If you're your first-time starter. Who do you think they will go to if, knock on wood, Fields goes down with COVID? Do you think they're going to go to Gunnar Hoke or they're going to go to one of their freshmen?
I think it said a lot that they went to Miller yesterday or Saturday. Man, we're already at Wednesday. Am I looking too much into that? I mean, I think it says a lot that they went to him towards the end right away. And of course they had him run. I mean, look, if you want to look at it, we talked about the carries for Trey Sermon and Master T. You combine their carries. If you combine the carries, you're looking at 23 combined carries for the running backs, but Justin Fields ran the ball more than any other running back. And, you have Jack Miller coming in. He's running the ball in his few plays there towards the end. They needed to see what he could do passing wise, but Gunnar Hoke, you would think would be the next guy up, but you would have to think from a skill perspective. Do you want the backup quarterback from Kentucky, or do you want Jack Miller? I'm going to take my chances with the freshman. Even if Gunnar Hoke might be more experienced, I want to look. You think when Clemson, when they had Kelly Bryant, and everyone's like, got to get rid of Kelly Bryant, you got to play this freshman, man. Look how well that worked. Like, it's Ohio State. They're on the same level as Clemson and Alabama. Oh, man, it's a national championship game. It's halftime. We need to go to our freshman and Tua Tagovailoa. You don't go to a freshman and that. The freshman came in and won a national championship. Kelly Bryant has experience. He took over from, Deshaun Watson. You don't go to your freshman quarterback. Let him sit out and learn again. Trevor Lawrence came in and won you a national championship. Justin Fields goes out. Don't go to Gunnar Hoke. Go to Jack Miller. Go to one of those guys. So that would be my take on that. If those guys are as good as what we've been told that they are, and I believe they are. Right.
One more thing about Wisconsin's quarterback situation. Graham Mertz is his name, the redshirt freshman that balled out of his mind in his first game. Don't think that he's just one another of these Wisconsin quarterbacks that's going to turn and hand it off to their next big-time running back. He got recruited by Georgia, Arizona State, Bama, Arizona State, and here's the big one, Clemson. Mm-hmm. So he was wanted. He was wanted by the big dogs. So, him being a prospect, his first game out, he proved what he was worth. So, I know people are just going to brush him off as another Wisconsin quarterback that just hands the ball off. But, hopefully he gets better and hopefully they finish out their season and all that type of stuff. But he's only a freshman. So eventually him and the Buckeyes going to meet. So, just put that just a little nugget.
Yeah, and to be clear, that could have been that Big Ten championship game at the end. That would have been a great opportunity for Wisconsin because I believe they were going to be undefeated. Wisconsin would have been undefeated. And by the way, they still might be in that line. You only need 6 games to get to the college football playoff. And if they get Mertz back or whatever his name, what I always keep butchering Graham Mertz. So if they get him back by the end. So they canceled their game with Wisconsin or with Nebraska this weekend. Allison Spurk on Facebook, thank you so much for reaching out. She says Wisconsin now has 6 coaches and 6 players who have tested positive. That's an outbreak. That's 12.
That's a bona fide outbreak, people.
I still have a problem with canceling because the rule states as long as you don't drop below 53 scholarship players, you can play. But I see the optics of it both ways, I guess. But my problem is that of the 6 players, the only reason they're canceling the game is because both of their quarterbacks are out. Otherwise, so what happens if those quarterbacks both sprained their ankle in practice and they didn't have one available because of injury? You don't cancel the game because of that. And you're going to say, well, they cancel it because of the outbreak. There's been a lot of other teams that have had outbreaks that those guys are separate from the team and everyone else continues to go and play. So I don't like the move by Wisconsin, but I think we'll all forget about it. And at the end, Wisconsin might be the only other team that can potentially knock on the door of getting in the college football playoff. And they might look at it that way. They might say, we're not going to risk playing with our 2 quarterbacks out and losing. We'd rather just say, hey, let's just cancel this game. We'll be 6-0. We'll get to the Big Ten championship game. We'll play Ohio State. If we lose by a field goal, we possibly get 2 Big Ten teams in the college football playoff. That 4th spot is wide open. Wide open. Notre Dame is not it. I mean, they can be it. If they're undefeated, they beat Clemson, more power to them. But they don't look at Georgia. Is not. You not just lost.
Had a good Notre Dame had a good bounce back week from that 12 points they put up. They put up 48 the next week
against Louisville. They held Lamar Jackson to. Oh wait, that's not Lamar Jackson's Louisville team. No, I know what you're saying. So all I'm saying is I see it, but if I'm Nebraska, I'm also angry because Nebraska's like, man, I had a chance to get a big win too. Look, we're physical against Ohio State. Yeah. We wanted to see how we can hold our own the next week against a good Wisconsin team. All right, a lot of college football talk coming up. Allison Spoke, thank you again for reaching out. I see Willie. We're going to get to your comment coming up. Ron brings up a good point earlier. Clemson put up 73-7 on Georgia Tech. It's all about style points. Exactly. You didn't have Dabo, apologizing for, man, I didn't mean to put 73 points up.
He had his 5th string quarterback in the game, by the way.
Yep. But then you had Ryan Day. Give me a break. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. We had to score.
Chucking it.
Have you ever heard of more teams in football apologize for scoring lately? How many games, what game was last week where we were talking about for one, you had Todd Gurley, who didn't mean to score. I've never heard of so many teams the Bengals, we're like, man, we can't even purposely score touchdowns. And here you all have Ryan Day apologizing because their team, we didn't mean to score a touchdown. We apologize. Todd Gurley, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to score a touchdown.
Shoot, that happened in the Penn State game.
The Penn State game, that was the other one. Thank you. Yeah. So 3 scenarios in this past week where teams did not mean to score touchdowns, scored touchdowns. And here you have a guy throwing for 400 yards and can't throw a touchdown, but yeah, he's player of the week. All right.
He threw 3 touchdowns. What you talking about?
2 turnovers. Wasn't as efficient as no. But yeah, Ryan Day, stop apologizing. That's weak. And then your excuse was, oh, we didn't have the right personnel. We didn't have the right personnel on the field to take any. It's the Ohio State University. You have if Jack Miller is not capable of taking a knee, cut him. Like if Jack Miller can't, you have Trevor Lawrence winning national championships as a freshman. You have Tua Tagovailoa coming in at halftime of a national championship game, winning a national championship game when your team was behind. Those are freshman quarterbacks who were thrown into the fire. And your freshman quarterback isn't smart enough to take a knee? Come on, Ryan Day. Even Keith Myers agreed with me. He said, yeah, that was a pretty stupid explanation as to why you couldn't take a knee at the house. How hard is it to take a knee? Ryan Day, I love you, but that was pretty stupid. Just saying.
Hike.
1-0. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye.
Unless you take Martell.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BELT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BELT to 42424. That's BELT to 42424.
Let the joy begin with this week's sale at JCPenney. Get cozy with up to 50% off select cold weather bedding or your favorite kitchen items from Cuisinart, Wilton, and Instant Pot. Also, get select family outerwear at up to 50% off and save an extra 25% with coupon. Plus, grab our Black Friday prices earlier than ever. Shop the Black Friday kickoff at jcp.com this Sunday. JCPenney. Offers valid 10/29 to 11/5. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
As a professional painter, you know your customers want a flat finish, but don't want to pay the price of fighting dirt, grime, and scuffs. Use new Behr Ultra Scuff Defense from the Home Depot for a beautiful flat finish, plus stain and scuff defense. And that price starts at just $29.60 a gallon, and that's before the Pro Extra discount. A flat paint that's too tough to scuff. Behr Ultra Scuff Defense, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Available online and in select stores.
The all-new Audible now gives you thousands of select audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all included with membership. Try it for free for 30 days. Visit audible.com.
NFL fans, the season is finally here. Get your picks submitted at wingam.com. Click on contest and enter the Pro Football Challenge. Weekly winners will win $20 in Frickers Fun Bucks. Get to wingam.com and get your NFL picks submitted now.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Good luck. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. 1410 WING AM.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
We are Dayton's ESPN radio station. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So come on out this Sunday. College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and myself, we will be live out at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. It's the Sunday morning tailgate show presented by Frickers. 11:30 a.m. Keith Byers and I go on the air live from Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. We walk you right up to kickoff. You'll get to watch the Titans and the Bengals 1 o'clock this Sunday. You could watch it at Frickers with us after the show. We always stick around and watch the games. Come watch Bengals and Titans with us, as well as the Raiders and the Browns. Last week, it was kind of fun. There was a lot of eyes just glaring at me. A lot of people making fun of me because I was there for the first quarter when Baker was 0 for 5 with the interception. People laughing at me, making fun of me, and then I left, and I was not there to return the favor. When Baker Mayfield, he did his thing.
Do you believe in sports jinxes?
It's a good question. No,
I do.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Like, what's one of you? Like, what do you? So,
like, I truly believe, like, if, like, my brother got me on this, like, when Ohio State wears the red jerseys, we have to wear red jerseys when we watch the game. If they're wearing the white, we got to wear the white. Like, you got to wear what the team wears. Like, we do that. If baseball rally cap. You turn it inside out. Like when your team starts making a rally, I do that when I'm watching my team and they're making a rally. I do believe if you stayed at the restaurant, the Browns would have continued to lose. I do believe you leaving had something to do with the Browns winning.
Nope, because last year at Frickers, it was game 1 against the Titans. I'll never forget that. It was the first game with Baker, OBJ, and Hee-Haw Kitchens and all them, and they were all that, so very first game. The very first drive, I mean, there was a ton of Browns fans there. Again, this was last year when Schlemmer and myself and Byers were doing the show last year. It was Browns-Titans, the highly anticipated debut of year 2 of the Baker Mayfield run Browns before it all went to hell, right? And the very first drive, Baker and the Browns they marched that ball down the field effortlessly. I mean, that play, Frickers was so freaking loud. It was unbelievable. Now, after that drive, I had to leave. I leave, Kev, with the Browns up. The Browns had just marched on the field. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be a great year. I'm just glaring at people. I'm ha-haing. Now, I'm there when they're playing well. Now, I leave. I had a meeting I had to go to. I checked my phone, and then things went to hell.
Yes, exactly. You got to stay.
No, because I left Frickers.
No, that's
Sunday.
how it works. If you would have stayed, they would have continued to win.
No, so this past Sunday.
If you would have stayed, they would have continued to lose. You changed the momentum.
Stop. Yes. You do. I don't take anything you say serious. You were defending the Bengals earlier, so I don't take anything you say serious as far as that is concerned. All right. Again, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Here's the deal. Big news a little bit ago. Again, Wisconsin cancels their matchup with Nebraska due to COVID-19 outbreak. And the question I have is this. Nebraska cancels. Wisconsin cancels the game. They have 6 players who have tested positive. 2 of their quarterbacks have tested positive. If it's again 6 players, they're trying to say that. I read their press release, and of course they're talking about how we have 6 players who tested positive, and we just think it's best to shut things down. I call BS. You're full of it. Mm-hmm. I believe if 6 players had tested positive and all 6 were backups, you would be playing this week. If 6 players tested positive and it's one wide receiver and it's a cornerback and a kicker, you're playing this weekend. The only reason that Wisconsin canceled this game is not because 6 players and 6 coaches tested positive. It's because of the 6 players that tested positive, 2 of them were your quarterbacks, and you were going to have to revert to a 4th-string quarterback. You don't even have 4th-string quarterbacks. So my thing is this. Stop. This is the thing about sports that I hate. When you try to tell, with Ryan Day's apology this past weekend, oh, man, I'm so sorry. We just didn't have the right personnel on the field to take a knee. Oh, Wisconsin, man, we're just so worried about player safety, and we just think it's best to not play this weekend. Oh, baloney! If of the 6 players that tested positive, if you didn't have any positive tests amongst your quarterbacks, you'd be playing this weekend. So I totally disagree with that. If I'm Nebraska, I'm upset. This is why that Kevin Warren and the Big Ten needed to have protocols put in place to say, hey. And, every other conference did. That's how Alabama and some others who were kind of are LSU and Florida. Mm-hmm. The only reason that got stopped is because Florida went below the 53 total scholarship players for the game. So that was agreed upon. And LSU, and that was an agreed upon percentage of scholarship players that they fell below. So, of course, they were justified in not playing. You know what I mean? It was justified in not playing. They're not justified in not playing this weekend. I think it's wrong. And I say that not to not be sympathetic towards the coronavirus, but had the quarterbacks both sprained their ankles in games, Wisconsin wouldn't be allowed to say, yeah, we're going to sit out our game. We have 2 quarterbacks who are injured this week. We're going to just sit out this game. Is that cool? It's wrong. I think it's wrong. If I'm Nebraska, I'm upset. I'm not okay with this.
That's fair. I would like to do a little research on that and see if there's ever been games canceled because they don't have enough players at one position before I jump out there.
And David Shaw comes out and says that the Big Ten protocol doesn't allow them to play if the team percentage of players testing positive is over a certain amount. They can't play. I can't remember what that percentage is right now. But Shaw is 6 players. That's not in the big scheme of things. 6 isn't a lot. 6 isn't a lot, right? So the Big Ten, it's just that because they're getting raked through the coals again. Once again, it's all going back to Kevin Warren. And I want to set the tone and say, stop blaming Kevin Warren. This was the school university presidents that made this decision. The university presidents did this, not Kevin Warren. Kevin Warren is the messenger. Kevin Warren basically comes out and just, he steps up. He's like Roger Goodell at the NFL draft. Roger, with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Joe Burrow. Roger Goodell didn't select Joe Burrow. Roger Goodell didn't make the draft pick for the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals submitted their pick, and he just was basically the messenger. A weird example, but you see my point. This is kind of the same thing. With the next dumb decision from the Big Ten, the Big Ten commissioners, or the Big Ten presidents have agreed to blank. And then we see Kevin Warren make the announcement. Then Kevin Warren's the boob. Everyone's mad at Kevin Warren. Kevin Warren didn't enforce this. Kevin Warren has to enforce what the presidents enforce. That's the deal here. So this is messed up. I'm not a fan of this. Wisconsin canceling the game because they have 2 quarterbacks out is messed up, because if those 2 quarterbacks were just injured, Wisconsin has to play. So that's the problem I have with this, Kevin. I do. If I'm Nebraska, I'm raising more hell about that. Now the next question is, I saw Bobby Carpenter talking about this on Twitter. If you're in Nebraska and you find a non-conference game for Saturday, should you be able to put that game on the schedule? I believe you should. I don't know who that would be.
I believe Temple is like the go-to team for people to play.
There you go.
Like they're just open for beatdowns.
So get them on as far as that's concerned. Like, the Big Ten should not pass up on that. They should not tell them no, as far as that's concerned. But interesting nonetheless. And again, if this happens to Ohio State down the road, like Kev, so let me get this straight. So let's say that tomorrow Justin Fields tests positive for the coronavirus. Yep, we both did that. Speaking of superstitions right there, knocking on wood. What's Ohio State going to do? Just say, you know what? We're not going to play this weekend. We're going to sit this one out because we're the Ohio State University. We only need to play 6 games, and we're going to make the college football playoff no matter what. The Buckeyes are moving up the damn rankings without even playing a damn game for the first month and a half of the season. So if I'm Ohio State, I throw my weight around too. And after watching what Wisconsin just did, which I have a huge problem with, Wisconsin should not be able to just cancel the game this weekend. Not when you don't have the correct amount of percentages to be able to justify doing it. 6 players tested positive. I'm sorry.
I know in the Big 12 and the Pac-12, they have an X amount of players per position availability. I know that for sure because they were talking about that when Baylor had to cancel some games because they didn't have enough players at a certain position. I'm not sure if the Big 10 has the same model or that model is in there. I just Googled some stuff and all I'm seeing is like percentages and stuff like that. But, the one out in the Big 12 clearly states you have to have 6 offensive linemen available. You have to have 5 linebackers available. You have to have 7 defensive backs available, 2 quarterbacks available. But I don't see that in the Big 10 thing. So if the Big 10 has that, then I guess it would just be the Big 10 canceling it. But apparently the Big 10 does not have that in writing.
Or they do, and we just haven't come across it. I didn't, again, when we came on the air here again, just not having that information right off the bat. So here's the deal, too. I mean, we see this in baseball. It's a weird crossover here. I watched Nick Castellanos pitch a game this year. We don't have enough pitchers. Well, you go to other, you mean to tell me you don't have a wide receiver that played quarterback in college, or you don't have any, we see it all the time at these positions that either they just change. I don't know. Either way, whatever it is, what it is, but it would be interesting to see. This isn't going to be the last time that Big Ten teams are impacted by this. And the reason it's a bigger deal for the Big Ten, as we have talked about in weeks past, Kev, 3 weeks, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Now, if it happened to Ohio State, they're in luck in the month of November. It's a month-long bye week. It's a month-long bye, basically. So it is what it is. You can get away with it then. But, man, I would be devastated if we get to the college football playoff and the player tests positive and they have to miss 3 weeks and miss the college football playoff as far as that's concerned.
Devastating, man. Devastating. It's an opponent that everybody's facing. This week Buckeyes are playing Penn State, but guess what? They're also playing COVID. And Michigan's playing COVID this week. Bama's playing COVID. COVID is the opponent for everybody, plus the actual opponent on the field. So it's up in the air, man. This season is up in the air. I know we're enjoying the games and everything like that, especially the NFL. But the season is still in jeopardy. We also got to give a lot of love to the NHL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA because they've crowned champions during the COVID-19 virus outbreak. So we got to give them a lot of love for actually getting that done. I'm still unclear if we're going to get a national championship game played in college football, and
I think we are.
I think we're going to do it in the NFL, but I think we're going to be delayed in the NFL.
So David Shaw says, I'm reading an article out of Madison saying that 12 players plus head coach tested positive. Now, 12 is a different number. That's a much bigger number. My tone will change. But when you hear 6, I'm not saying it's not a lot, but it's not a lot in the big scheme of things. You got a roster that has 53 scholarship players or 50 plus scholarship players.
85.
85 scholarship players. So if you drop below 35, that's the thing. You had a team that dropped below 53 scholarship, LSU. So that's why 6 didn't sound like a lot. But you look at LSU, you had 30-plus players who all tested positive.
Right.
And the irony of all of that was just the fact that Florida said, hey, there's no safer place in the world than University of Florida as far as that's concerned.
Rona.
Interesting nonetheless. Look, I don't think that the season's in jeopardy. I think certain teams' seasons are in jeopardy if it comes down to it. But I think the Big Ten Conference, one way or another, these teams, the rule is, hey, you're out 21 days and on you move. So, as far as that's concerned. All right, folks, we'll be back in a moment. 457-9464. I don't know how many of you watched the World Series last night. The World Series debate, you talked about the champion being crowned. The baseball season's officially in the books. And yet all we're talking about is not how the Dodgers ended a huge World Series drought. It's about Justin Turner and being an idiot. And how the Dodgers also, bunch of idiots, all of them. And also, how about the Rays manager? Was that David Bell out there? I haven't seen anything that stupid since David Bell was managing. And by the way, you Reds fans out there that defend David Bell, keep in mind it was the style of management that you defend cost the Rays a World Series game last night. Just so we're clear. More next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Report 3. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy with a high near 58. Tonight will be cloudy with rain, a low around 46. And tomorrow is going to be cloudy with rain, a high near 48. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com. Have you played Turtle Creek Golf Course yet? Formerly Greenville Country Club, Turtle Creek has local, state, and national recognition for excellence. They also have some world-class facilities, like the famous Thirsty Turtle Lounge, a full-service restaurant and bar with seating for up to 200 guests. Come try the Turtle's famous chicken wings, or Fish Fridays, Steak Saturdays, or Sunday brunch. Learn more at www.turtlecreekon36.com. Turtle Creek Golf Course and the Thirsty Turtle Lounge. Great food, great golf, and a great experience.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenics makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenics? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenics is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenics.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text BELT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenics, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenics Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text BELT to 42424. That's BELT to 42424.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Ask for it at Advanced Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
Remember being in your favorite sport clips, getting set for that great MVP haircut experience? Yeah, how about if we made that wait even shorter? Now, with Sport Clips On Deck text alerts, when you check in online or with our app, we'll text you a 15-minute heads up when it's time to head in. And when you're the next man up, you'll get another text to come take your seat. Less wait time, more prime time. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Welcome to another Fantastic Four golf hole experience with the Buy Golf for Half Bogey Boys.
We're at Windy Knoll Golf Club today in Springfield, Ohio. This is my first time here, and I'm in love already. This totally unique course is Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course, and it's open to the public. I'm standing on the tee at the 6th hole. This par 4 is a dogleg left with some teeth. Water hugs the left side of the fairway all the way to the hole. I push my drive to the right, no surprise there. I get a decent lie in the rough and punch out and up the fairway. My third shot lands to the left front of the green, missing the large bunker on the right. I chip on and stop about 7 feet from the hole. I get lucky on a right to left breaking putt, and I'm in the hole for a bogey 5. I'll take it. You're in for a great test of your game when you play this link-style course. Get your pals together, book a tee time, and come out and play Windy Knoll. Stay tuned for more Fantastic Four golf hole experiences. See you at the next hole.
Visit buygolfforhalf.com for half-price golf packages from Windy Knoll and other great local golf courses around the Miami Valley.
I'm Scott. I'm a Park National Banker and I'm a community board member. At Park National Bank, we believe that we're more than our job titles, and you're more than an account number. Now, bringing our family of community banks together under a single brand name means you get those core values you've always counted on, and more service, more access, and more options. We're all together now at Park National Bank, where you mean more.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation, now hiring Class A CDL drivers for new Home Daily dedicated lanes. That's right, Home Daily, earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company-paid life insurance, outstanding new equipment, and no-touch freight. Call Cody, 937-277-7271, or apply at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Hi, this is Chris Bermick, co-owner of Butler Heating and Air Conditioning. I support LaRonda Jackson for state representative. LaRonda is reliable and responsive when called upon. Her follow-up said a lot to me about her commitment to local businesses. LaRonda Jackson is a successful business owner, and I appreciate her desire to create a better community for all of us. If you live in District 40 and want vision, unity, and values, vote LaRonda Jackson for state representative.
Paid for by Friends of LaRonda Jackson.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration. You really turning in 0.3 miles and begin a deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles, base coverages only. Availability varies.
What's hot for business this week at Staples?
Small prices, big savings.
Help your business go big with amazing prices on everything you need to pack and ship.
Right now at Staples, save 20% on UPS expedited shipping services. Plus, save up to 30% on select shipping supplies.
Shop in-store or get same-day delivery through Instacart and save big at Staples.
Ends 10/31 while supplies last. In-store only. See store for details. Instacart fees, taxes, and/or tips may apply. Delivery subject to availability. Additional terms apply.
Audible now gives you thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all in one place. The new Audible is your playlist for life. Download the Audible app to get started.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you on 1410 ESPN Radio. Shaw says that 5% of 85, it's 5%, says positive, and of course you cancel the game. That's only 5, so 6 would be enough to justify canceling the game this coming up weekend, as far as that's concerned. So they were in the right. So there, I'll backtrack on that. It's not like they could have played and canceled, because that was the perception that I had about it. That is that, hey, you had 6 players test positive, but again, this is where it gets confusing. This is why it's stupid. Every conference is different.
Yeah,
and this goes back all the way to the summer when these Power 5 conferences all decided to act independently of one another. That's why for anyone out there that thinks that if Ohio State slips up along the way, because they unfortunately contract the virus, if you think that these other conferences are going to say, hey, let's all slow down and let the Big Ten catch up, you're delusional. That's not happening.
It's not going to happen.
That's why it's on the responsibility of the NCAA and the responsibility of the college football playoff to
It's
do
not their
so.
responsibility.
It
Will
is.
no, it is not. They will have a playoff with or without Ohio State. Ohio State's only been in just a few of these, and they've survived just fine without it. They're not, the Big Ten did everything they could to make sure that they had a season because they had a national championship contender. But how many playoffs have there been without Ohio State? The ratings were fine. They crowned a national champion. They're not going to slow up just to make it fair because nothing's fair about any of this as far as that's concerned. And it's not up to them. It's up to the conferences to do what they need to do, and they didn't do enough to make sure that this was a smooth transition. If I'm if I'm the college football playoff, I don't budge one bit. They've already moved it back numerous times already to give these schools a shot.
I think there's going to be a situation where you could potentially have teams from multiple conferences dealing with COVID issues that they might not even be able to play. So what if Ohio State's undefeated, Bama's undefeated, and they got severe COVID outbreaks? Well, we just going to take Clemson and freaking Florida and the team up north and say, oh, well, they can't play. Let's keep on going without two teams that's undefeated?
Well, it's the Big Ten's fault for not starting the season earlier and giving themselves a bubble. Why is that? No.
I said multiple teams from multiple conferences like dealing with it. So if
they're all dealing with it.
No, I'm saying like if a big outbreak where like, hey man, we can't play because these dudes got the Rona. So if it's potentially in an outbreak with a potential Big Ten champion and an SEC champion, they're not going to play the college football playoff without multiple teams from that are top
You're
four.
creating a scenario that doesn't exist.
That is a scenario that definitely can exist.
Yeah,
though.
they better move the playoff up then, because what if an asteroid just comes and destroys planet Earth the day after? I mean, like, come on.
But that is a potential scenario that can happen.
I bet a lot can happen. But as of right now, that's not the case. I mean, and as we've seen, no one's prepared for anything, so it doesn't matter. So that's not going to be the case. They're not going to say, let's slow down and let's stop and let everyone else catch up. They've already done that twice. The Big Ten had a chance to start the season even a few weeks earlier. Like, we shouldn't be talking about Ohio State kicking off the very first game of the season here at the end of October. They found out at the end of September, or at the end of August. And then they said, hey, we're going to wait a month and a half to reboot the season again. Like, that's ridiculous.
I just think it should be a reevaluation as we go.
But the only conference that's stuck here is the Big Ten. They're not going to change everything for one conference that was stupid from the beginning. Like, it's their fault. Why would you start a season with no wiggle room? The College Football Playoff Committee should not bail them out because they decided to start the season with, all right, let's see, if we start this date, that's 8 weeks until the College Football Playoff selection show. Should we have any wiggle room for if we have to cancel games? Nah, we'll be fine. So every other conference decided, hey, we're going to start, we're going to delay, but we're going to leave room at the back end of the schedule. So if we have to cancel games like LSU, Florida, there'll be room on the back end of the schedule to make those up, and we don't have to impact the college football playoff, and boom. So there's only one conference that decided to not do that. That one conference is the Big Ten. That's the one conference that they're not going to
one conference that you care about because Pac-12.
I don't care if
Pac-12 is on the same model.
But they're not going to be in the hunt for the college football.
That's what I just said.
So, like, they're not paying attention to them anyways.
But that's what I'm saying. You're only making a big deal about this because it's the Big Ten and it's Ohio State. There's other conferences that are doing the exact same thing, and nobody's bashing them over the head.
Because they're not in position. We're not talking about
the fact Pac-12 ain't even playing yet.
But that's, again, on them. They got made fun of for that, too. Like, it was bad. Like, everyone was ripping the Big Ten for starting when they did, and the Pac-12's like, oh, we're going to play too, but we're going to start later than the Big Ten. Like, also stupid, also dumb. As far as that, my thing is if you only needed 6 games to make the college football playoff anyways, we all know that they only re-kicked off the season anyways because of Ohio State.
Right.
And you already knew that Ohio State was moving up the rankings even without playing a game to begin with. So Ohio State technically only needed 6. They should have had everyone just schedule 6 games in 8 weeks to give yourself 2 weeks at the end to make up any games that were necessary. That's what they should have done.
Money.
That's fine. The SEC, they're making money and having room for makeup games at the end. The ACC, they're making money and having games at the end and makeup games. So, again, everyone else did it the right way. Then there's the Big Ten and Pac-12 like, what? What do we do? What do we do? Nope. Presidents are supposed to be bragging out, we're the smartest people in all of college football. We know everything. Oh, wait, we didn't think about that. We didn't think about how we might need some weekends at the end to make up games. Well, how come everyone's being mean to us and picking on us and not slowing down and letting us catch up? No. David Shaw says, we've already had multiple teams in multiple conferences that couldn't play. Those conferences gave themselves wiggle room. I agree.
Oh, look at you. You and Shaw agreeing. That's a first.
Doesn't happen often. Doesn't happen often, but we had to pick a day to agree on something because an asteroid can hit planet Earth tomorrow, and we'll never have a chance to agree on something again. I'm just saying.
Boy.
I'm just saying. All right, folks. So last night, the World Series, the Major League Baseball season officially wrapped up. You remember all the way back towards the end of July when the season initially started, 60-game regular season, sprint to the finish line. And not even after one game, the Reds opened up the season. And I remember that very first game. And the big argument after the first night was, oh, my God, they didn't start Shogo Akiyama. All you bragged about all offseason was how you went and got this new leadoff hitter, and we can't wait to see him. And he was who I couldn't wait to see. That's what I thought the biggest headline was going to be during the first weekend of the Reds opening series to start the 2020 season. And then it wasn't. Not even a day later, you have the huge breakout with the Marlins. You have a huge breakout with multiple teams. And Rob Manfred's coming out and saying, hey, we may not even start. We're not even going to finish the season.
Mm-hmm.
There was rumors that he was going to pull the plug as early as like 1 week into the season because then the Cardinals had their big outbreak. The Cardinals ended up missing 15 of their first 20 games. The Reds were playing game number 20 at the same time that the Cardinals were playing game 6. It was an absolute crap show as far as I'm concerned. But everyone was like, man, there's just no way we're even going to get to the playoffs at this point. There's no way we're even going to get to the playoffs at this point. Well, we finished 60 games.
We did it.
We got to the playoffs. And last night, we officially put a bow on the playoffs. World Series champion was crowned. The Dodgers win 3-1 in Game 6. Multiple headlines coming out of last night, and one of them was baseball related, and the other one was just moron entitled athlete who thinks the rules don't apply to him. And I hope, oh man, I can't stand this guy. He's the Ryan Tannehill of baseball, except he's worse. He's worse. Justin Turner last night, okay, he tested positive earlier in the day. Of course, it was inconclusive, I guess, on the test, so they had to redo the test, and they had to expedite it to get the results back. They got the results back in the second inning and had to pull them. My thing is if you knew that he had, that the results weren't sure, that means you don't really have a player that you know what you have yet. He shouldn't have been starting to begin with, I guess, but I'm not going to nitpick that. So what? They pulled him in the second inning like they were supposed to, just like the Reds did with Nick Senzel. They had a very similar situation earlier in the year. Justin Turner is pulled out of the game. 6th inning. He's then told, or second inning, 6th inning, he's then told, you're positive for the coronavirus. You need to leave the clubhouse. Get your stuff and leave.
Get out.
So we've seen the last of Justin Turner, right? No. Because apparently the second that the clock hit 0, there's not a clock in baseball, but you see my point there. The second that the last out of the World Series was made, Justin Turner apparently thought that the coronavirus only existed from opening day until the last out because Justin Turner knew that he had the coronavirus, and this big piece of crap decided that, hey, who cares about other people? Who cares about teammates? Who cares about your manager who is actually a cancer survivor? And there you are with your stupid beard and your stupid face sitting in there holding the World Series trophy, just putting all your little COVID germs all over the damn thing. And then the teammates are grabbing the World Series trophy and they're passing it around.
Kissing it.
He knew, yeah. Like, this is so messed up. And folks, even those of you who roll your eyes at the coronavirus, do you realize how stupid and selfish that was? Because you could think that it's dumb, but I know a lot of people that roll their eyes at the coronavirus. Keep in mind, I'm from Mercer County. They don't give a rip. In fact, they lost their crown as the dumbest county in Ohio as far as not taking it serious. They're like 3rd now on the list. They're dropping in the rankings, man. Like, they're losing their touch as far as that's concerned. Like, I know people from there that didn't take it serious that then got it. Like, oh man, that was no joke. Like, that hurt. Like that. Like, they're still alive, but it still hurt. We know people who don't take it serious that when they do get it, all of a sudden they kind of snap into shape a little bit. Like, okay, I don't want to pass it to other people. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't take it serious, you still care about people around you to a point to where if you know you have it, you're not going to just go out and just, pass it around. That's what's so disgusting about what Justin Turner did last night in his stupid red beard. That's what he did last night. There he is, sitting in the front row of the pictures, right next to his coach, his manager, who's a cancer survivor, who's at high risk. And you're sitting right next to him. And then the dumb manager comes out afterwards and says, yeah, well, we didn't touch each other. Well, this isn't a sexually transmitted disease, you moron. This isn't, you don't get it from hugging. You don't get it from sexual intercourse. You get it from just being in the same freaking vicinity of somebody, you idiot. How dumb do you have to be? And then you have, to make things worse, you have Trevor Bauer,
who I have a love-hate relationship with, and it's back to hate. Trevor Bauer says, typical MLB here. A problem exists, blame the players. Yes, absolutely. Take note of public perception, launch a partisan investigation to appease the public. Yes. What investigation do you need? Justin Kinner 2.0 over here watched the game last night, heard the breaking news that he tested positive, watched Justin Turner knowingly have the virus, go out and shake hands, hug, cry, kiss the trophy, teammates kissing the trophy. They're all hugging, jumping up and down because apparently the second that the third out of the World Series, Game 6 of the World Series happened, the coronavirus just disappeared. Absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know what they can do. I really don't know what they can do as far as that's concerned, as far as punishment-wise. But, I mean, he better have some kind of punishment, severe punishment heading into next season.
What would be fair?
I have no clue because technically if the virus protocols are out of place by next season, he didn't break any rules for that coming up season. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. Kev, like, this is weird. This isn't like, oh, man, the Dodgers knew he had it and they were hiding the results until after it. Like, they did their part. Yeah. They knew. They went and pulled him from the game. And by the way, that sucks. Let's just try to connect with them that way. You go through all of this all year to get to this point. And then of the World Series clinching game, you have to be pulled because you tested positive. That's gut-wrenching. That's horrible. But you know what? How about Northmont here in town, who has a chance to win a state championship, and they find out the day of the game, a little bit before they're going to load the bus to go play in a playoff game. They find out that their season's done. You think that their life doesn't suck for a little bit? You think that they weren't impacted by it? But they didn't just get to say, screw this, we're getting on the bus and going to play anyway. No, they had to be adults. The 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids had to be adults. Well, Justin Turner's dumbass just said, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. That's so messed up, and he makes me want to puke. I hate him as a human being, and I don't care. I'm being dramatic, but I don't think I am. Like, everyone should be this angry. That's messed up, Kev. Like, you knew you had it, and you just said, screw it. I'm never going to win a World Series again, probably. So I'm going to go out there and celebrate anyways. And who cares? This story, if their manager gets sick, if the other guys get sick and there's an outbreak, how messed up is that going to be?
Yeah,
so messed up.
Big messed up. But what do you come down with your buddy and him saying like, all right, well, let's investigate how a person inside the bubble actually got the Rona. Like, I think that is a story too. The bigger story is him rushing the field after testing positive for COVID and being told he needs to leave and he didn't, and breaking protocols and everything like that. That is a story. But another story is like, okay, how can somebody, or what went wrong inside the bubble for somebody to catch COVID, for people being tested? Because it didn't happen in two bubbles in the NHL. It didn't happen in the NBA bubble, but it happened in the MLB bubble.
Here's where you could blame the league. You couldn't really call it a bubble. You can call it, I don't know what you want to call it.
A dome.
They all put them in a hotel, and they all had their hotels. And the rules were you go straight to the ballpark, you go straight back to your hotel, you don't leave your hotel. You want to know the problem with that? Normal people stayed in that hotel too.
Oh,
when you're going to the when you're going like that part with Trevor Bauer, I agreed on. Because that's what Trevor Bauer's complaint was that. So Trevor Bauer's mad at Major League Baseball because the players still could have contracted the virus or whatever. Baseball was just saying, look, we can't create a bubble like the NBA and NHL and others right now in midseason. Remember, they made that rule in midseason. So they did, like, to them, this was, well, we're keeping the entire team together, grouped up. They're going to the ballpark. They're going back. Ballpark, back. No in between. To where if everyone is staying at home, getting on planes, heading back for their house. Major League Baseball, this was the best that they could do to ensure that they crowned a World Series champion, and they did it. And it's just crazy to me that the one loophole, or I don't want to say the one risk, the highest risk here, ended up happening on the very final night of the season.
Right.
So baseball, I guess, is responsible a little bit, but they were doing their best. I mean, this made sense. Imagine how many times in the playoffs you would have had scenarios where, all right, you go to LA for 2 games,
but how can
then
you
got to go
find
back
a
to
hotel?
Tampa?
How can you find a hotel with nobody in it?
You can't.
You baseball, buy them out.
Well, remember, they took a big hit this year. They lost a lot of money.
Remember Blake Snell? He risked his life playing this year just so he could be pulled after 6 innings and 9 strikeouts and
I know
70
that made
pitches.
you happy.
David Bell was proud. Shardy said, since the season was technically over, I bet he doesn't get punished. There's no rule now since the season is over. Oh, he'll be punished in the afterlife. How about that? Kind of like the LSU thing after the national title, taking money from OBJ and stuff. Season was over. They couldn't do anything. Actually, they did. They actually got some sanctions. Shorty, they did. Just last week, they got sanctions as far as that's concerned. And then, like, OBJ's banned. But again, OBJ's like, who cares? That's probably the first time he'd been back to that stadium.
And half the players went pro.
Yeah. So it's like, but Shorty, I see your point, though.
The one guy that stayed in school opted out.
But Shorty's right, though. Like if Joe Burrow's taking money from OBJ, Trevor Bauer had officially played his last second of football for LSU at that point. So there was nothing that they could have done as far as that goes. I don't know. But I thought OBJ was just banned, and that was it. Keep in mind, too, Shorty's right. There was a scenario with that, Kev, where there was other stuff being investigated, too, on top of that. They self-reported a lot of other things, too, as far as that goes. But, yeah, man, this is messed up. Like, even for those of you who mock this stupid virus, okay, for those of you who mock it, you even have to admit that as much as you don't take it serious, if you tested positive, and I'm talking to you folks, like, again, I'm not judging you or anything right now. It's a safe space. For those of you listening who don't take this virus serious, who think, okay, whatever, November 4th, it'll be gone, blah, blah, blah. If you're one of those people, you have to admit that if you found out you tested positive, that you would not even be that big of a jerk to just say, I'm going to still go out with friends. I'm going to go hang out with my 80-year-old grandma. My boss who's old, I'm going to go hang out with him for a bit. Even you wouldn't stoop to being that crappy of a human being, right? That's Justin Turner. That's a horrible. I think it's messed up, man. And I already see on Facebook too, people are like, well, they were together all day anyways. Who cares? Okay. They're all licking the trophy like a bunch of morons.
Real quick, NBA news. Utah Jazz sold for $1.6 billion today.
Did J-Lo buy it? And A-Rod?
No, and this just makes me think, okay, can they come by the Cleveland Indians so we can sign some free agents?
Nope. In fact, you need to get some draft picks, and you need to move on from Francisco Lindor, and they need to send him to Cincinnati so that David Bell can do a double switch and take him out in the 6th inning so that you have no good hitters to come up late in the game. How about that? David Bell style manager last night just coming through in the clutch in the World Series. David Bell, he was on full display last night. I felt like I was watching the Reds. Is Ron still on hold?
He is on hold.
Ron, give us about 5 minutes. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
The Ron.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We've been expecting you. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Do you have an old sports program, baseball, photo, ticket, or game-used equipment just collecting dust? Sports Investments wants to buy your sports memorabilia. They're also interested in old sports cards and also buying political, aviation, and entertainment items. Bring your collectibles to Sports Investments and get a fair value on the spot. If you decide to sell, they'll pay you immediately. Sports Investments is the largest buyer of memorabilia and cards in the area since 1993. Sports Investments also feature the best selection of autographed memorabilia, sports cards, and other collectible items for sale, including all your favorites like Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Bengals, the Browns, the Big Red Machine, UC, XU, UK, NKU, UD, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State, just to name a few. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
When I say Central Ohio's premier link-style golf course, what do you think of? It should be Windy Knoll Golf Club in Springfield. What used to be a world-class horse farm is now a stunning link-style golf course, complete with full-size steel horse sculptures and black rail fencing all around the course. And it's open to the public. Windy Knoll offers a challenge to golfers of all levels. Outstanding course conditions add to a truly exceptional golf experience. Get your friends together and come out and play at Windy Knoll Golf Club in Springfield.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of Honey Lemon. Not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks Vapo Cool Drops are
Honey lemon.
and
Honey lemon. Honey lemon.
yeah, Honey Lemon Chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks Vapo Cool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
Let the joy begin with this week's sale at JCPenney. Get cozy with up to 50% off select cold weather bedding or your favorite kitchen items from Cuisinart, Wilton, and Instant Pot. Also, get select family outerwear at up to 50% off and save an extra 25% with coupon. Plus, grab our Black Friday prices earlier than ever. Shop the Black Friday kickoff at jcp.com this Sunday. JCPenney. Offers valid 10/29 to 11/5. Conditions and exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course we can help you with that oil change. Doing it yourself is a great way to save some money. Right now you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And we've got even more ways to get it. Just order online with our next day delivery or free same day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Welcome to Pipestone Golf Club with a 4-star rating from Golf Digest and recognized as the best course to play. Pipestone is a favorite in the Miami Valley. The Arthur Hills design masterpiece is carved into the sweeping foothills and ancient oaks of southwestern Ohio. The course provides a quality challenge to golfers of all levels, and everyone is welcome. Be sure to call for a tee time, then bring your friends and play America's greatest game on a golf course that truly sets itself apart. Pipestone, a great golf experience.
Hiring can be challenging, but ZipRecruiter makes it fast and easy. We talked to Monica Starks, who needed to hire for a pivotal role at her company, GS Group.
As the owner of a construction company, finding the right people is a very difficult task. So I use ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology identifies the right people for your job and actively invites them to apply, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Monica did, and that's how she found Lamont, her new project superintendent.
The job is so perfect for me. I had a career breakthrough. I would have never found this job if it wasn't for ZipRecruiter.
With ZipRecruiter, we've hired everyone from accountants to project managers to field scientists. With ZipRecruiter, we get hiring results.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Audible now gives you thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, originals, and more, all in one place. The new Audible is your playlist for life. Download the Audible app to get started.
Whether it's betting on the big game, catching up on bills, or saving up for the holidays, we could all use a little extra cash this time of year. Hey, how does $1,000 sound? It's the ESPN Dayton #WeWannaGetPaid cash contest. Listen for the word that wins every hour, starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the word at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton We Want to Get Paid cash contest.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. I was talking about Justin Turner, and again, celebrates the World Series last night and selfishly takes all the attention away from his team
winning a World Series because all the media coverage has been about how stupid he is. And there's actually people that are stupid enough out there to defend him. Like, people are actually, like, their brain is so small. It's like this small. Guys like Chris Reynolds on Facebook, this small, that actually think that last night was acceptable for a guy that, I mean, literally, this is a guy that we're living in a pandemic. It was a risk playing baseball in a pandemic to begin with. And when you catch the virus, there's all these safety protocols being put in place to make sure that you don't spread that virus and potentially put others at risk. Mm-hmm. And then there are some times where, hey, you know, you're going to potentially spread the virus because you're playing during a pandemic and you're going to do your best not to, you know, spread it and everything like that. But then there are morons like Justin Turner who tested positive, knew he tested positive, was taken out of the game because he tested positive. His team wins the World Series without him, by the way, being out there. And he says, you know what, screw my teammates, screw my manager, screw human beings around me. If I pass the virus around me, who cares? Because I just won a World Series. So I was talking about Chris Reynolds on Facebook, and he says, Justin, you are full of blank if you think you wouldn't celebrate with your teammates for a World Series. But I get it, because you have never been an athlete that would start on a championship team. First of all, screw you, Chris Reynolds. I won a championship on my 5th grade baseball team. So you can, you know, whatever. I can't say that on the air. But no, Chris, I think that you are the one that's actually full of fill in the blank. If you think that by winning a championship while having, you know, a virus that everyone is catching during a pandemic, if you think it's acceptable to knowingly have a virus and just go amongst your teammates because, hey, you want to celebrate a World Series because that's more important than your teammates, you know, health around you, then I think that that makes you more of a crappy human being than him. So if you want to go there, by all means, go. We can go. We can all play that way. That's fine. I don't care. We got Ron on hold.
Yeah, Ron.
Ron, you have 60 seconds, my friend.
Well, one thing, I'm in heartache. I feel the Reds' pain. We had a manager like your dumbbell. And
his name's David Bell.
Well, yeah, whatever. It's spelled the same. And but okay, say the Rays would have won that game. Would they have put the whole thing on 2 weeks quarantine? I mean, you know what I mean? Because everybody's been around that guy.
No, that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Now, to be fair, I don't know how they would have handled that coming out of that game. Obviously, Justin Turner, at least I don't know, he wouldn't have been out running around the field if they would have lost last night's game. But because he was around those teammates, they would have had to. They would have probably had to delay the Game 7 of the World Series. So you're right, Ron. Yeah,
momentum killer.
Snell only had like 73 pitches. He was dealing. He struck Mookie Betts out twice. Okay, I mean.
He's, by the way, the heart of the order, he had already struck all of them out twice.
Exactly. Well, I know I don't have much time, but you were talking about jinx earlier.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely are, man. You go to Florida, there's a hurricane, okay? I mean, you do a Friday night football game, it's the crappiest weather, man. I mean, you went to the Browns game in Frickers. Oh, they're losing, so I leave, and then they start winning. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
You know, what's funny is Nora and I are planning a wedding right now, and we're looking at outside venues. I think that I should probably look to get married inside, right?
You definitely.
I would, get a dome or something, man, or a tent.
With the basement, you know, just in case.
But, it was just boneheaded move. And, you know, like with, real quick. With
20 seconds.
They canceled the game. So they're not going to do a winning percentage like it did in baseball. They're going to go by wins and losses. So Nebraska is screwed. They can't redeem themselves. And Wisconsin, they're out one game. So that messes up them too. So you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Hey, Ron, good stuff. Take care, man. Yeah, his Rays down last night in Game 6. All right, folks, have a great night. We'll do this again tomorrow. Jay Paterno, we were going to have him on today. We pushed it back to tomorrow. Again, just focusing more on college football tomorrow, heading in to the weekend. Have a great night. Until tomorrow, it's been the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.